stars. I wanna feel them fall. I need a better view. And somebody told the earth is just too crowded here for you to live upon. So gaze up high and hope that there's a glow you feel right on. Maybe we just don't belong. You wanna see the stars. I wanna feel them fall. I need a better view. You need somebody tall. The earth is just too crowded here for you. Someday, soon, I hope you find your home.
We are live, Tornado Attack Podcast, episode 170. Best term.
I'm not here today.
Oh, fuck me.
No, it's okay. I'll move on. Invisible Andy Header.
Yeah.
New gimmick.
Are you like, shit.
It's okay. I got to lead in. Hi. That's good. We're adjusting a camera. Those are not only audio people. You don't give a shit. So we're going to be talking face and heel turns, memorable ones tonight. Memorable turns.
Yes, it is say best, but once
Best
again,
day. Yeah. Well, you know.
going forward, it's essentially our picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's subjective. It is.
Well, there's three big ones. Austin's mic is not on.
we were doing commentary before this started, so I'm not really prepared. I do apologize.
MIO.
There we go.
Hey,
Run in from Heidi. All right.
it
so
really is a tornado tag going on.
we
right
are
now.
here. Brand new logo. So I don't know. This is the first show that we had to talk about it, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So let's turn our cam off real quick, and we'll put it on screen. Yeah, so merchandise is available now. If you want to grab the new logo, that would be a huge help. Because not only would you guys be rocking our merchandise and helping us promote the podcast, you would look great doing it. but you can get all the other cool ones too. If you like the logos that is sponsored, not sponsored, but it is talent photos, and you want more of those, buying logos helps pay for the art to get them done.
Maybe you like the new R logo.
Yeah,
the
you know what I
default
mean?
logo.
And maybe the default logo is the way to go and you don't like the other ones. Who knows? But if you can support the podcast by either merchandise or the Patreon, it helps out a lot. You can also just leave a one-time tip if you don't want to do the monthly donation. But the podcast does have expenses that we have to do to keep this going with StreamYard and Adobe to edit. Speaking of edits, tons of content coming the next couple weeks. We have 2 vlogs. We have the Legends of Hamburg Q&A with Demolition. We have the Legends of Hamburg footage. We have, there's so much stuff coming. I got it all done. I'm very, very excited for you guys to all see it. It's a lot of fun. Interview at PPW at Reloaded with Primetime Heat, brand new tag team PPW, which is pumped. I'm pumped to display. And also with the merchandise sales, it also helps us with the equipment that we're trying to get. So there is opportunities to get more interviews at places, but sometimes the lighting's not the greatest. Sometimes the place to mount your camera isn't the greatest.
Yeah.
So these accessories that we want to get, it would help us out a lot. All right.
You'll see some interesting people in that Legends of Hamburg video. It's an all-star cast with us. You're going to see the likes of the great Mr. Ooh La La.
Mhm.
Yes.
You're going to see the likes of dangerous Danny Davis.
He's fired up.
No,
That's
that's
Tommy Rich.
Tommy Rich.
Sorry, Tommy Rich.
Oh,
He's
Tommy-
fired up.
Oh, he's fired up.
Well,
Tommy Rich is
Danny Davis
fired
might have
up.
been fired up too.
Danny Davis was great. I love Danny Davis.
He has a long ponytail for those that don't know.
You're going to see Mr. Hughes. You're going to see Samu. You're going to see so many people.
Greatest wrestling collection.
Yes.
Behind my head,
definitely
you
check
see,
that
you
out.
see my Dark Order mask wearing the beanie that he gave me for free.
That's cool. Whoa.
What happened?
It's the
You're going to see
that
the
super
Shock
faction?
Master.
The
Yeah,
Shock
Shock
Master. Yeah, the Shock Master.
Uncle Freya was there.
Uncle Fred.
Uncle Freya.
He's on the camera.
Retribution came back for a minute.
But that's essentially it. If you can support, that'd be great. If you can't monetarily support, please help us out with a share. Let people know we exist. Also, over on the Twitch side, make sure you support and follow our friends at the CR Media. So we have our Twitch now set up. So when we're not live and they go live, it'll automatically host them on our channel so they get some viewers.
Oh,
They're trying. They mostly focus on the Twitch side more than we will focus on the
Mhm.
YouTube side. So if you do use Twitch, we are IWEP Network on Twitch. But CR Media is good buddies of ours, as well as Billy Trade, the intro music. His channel goes live when he goes live. I have set up. But let's check out the chat here. So we have
Let's put it this way: if you're not sharing, or if you can do Patreon, wonderful. Or if not, or if you can do like a donation, wonderful. If you're buying merch, wonderful. If you can't, share. But if you don't, you've turned heel on us.
yes, you've
You've
broken
turned
our
heel on
hearts.
us.
If you can't just hit share like,
You might as well just take Tony and throw him through a barbershop window at that point.
it hurts my feelings. Speaking of CR Media, gentlemen, how are we this evening? We are good. We're excited to talk about heel turns, baby face turns. If you're in the chat, tell us in the chat some of your favorite baby
Yeah.
face turns. Are not an easy
Oh,
thing to
I was
think about.
struggling.
I
I
have a
could
few.
not. I could not find any from
Usually
like my
they're-
time period that really stood out.
they're
to
not
me.
as good unless it's the build-up one. Like I'll just throw out like the Wardlow thing when it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're waiting, we finally got. it.
Well, I feel like with good guys and faces, it's more you want to see them return, not necessarily see them turn face. I feel like that's the at least
Yeah.
portrayal of
It-
good guys.
It's weird because it all depends on what the story is leading up to it. So if people just come out on their tag team and they turn on each other, like, well, I didn't know them, so it doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah. Outbreak Wrestling says, can't wait to watch it. We're pumped. It came out better than I anticipated. I thought the meet and greet at first was going to be shitty. And then
Mhm.
I kind of edited it more and was working with it. And I was like, this came out cool. I'm
And
excited.
The video quality is very good.
Oh, the dude, this GoPro camera setup is fantastic.
it looks like a professional, like I don't know what the motion's called. but-
Dude, their quality is
Yeah.
better when we film it on that than it is when we stream.
yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
it's 4K. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really cool. What else we got? Appreciate that, Anthony. CR Media. Nick says
How about
nobody
that?
better
That's
than
right.
Andy Header.
Mhm.
You-
Get that on a t-shirt.
that would be a great T-shirt. Number 2 has to be Seth Rollins in the Shield 2014.
Okay.
2014. Plan B,
Mhm.
and then I debated all day. Nikita turning to help Dusty was the best babyface turn ever.
That's
Wow.
a big one.
That is a big one.
And by the way, and still PPW TV champion. Eddie
And
Vedder.
Yeah.
still,
Oh yeah. How about that?
good match.
Thank you.
That was a good
You
card.
retained it. I thought it was a good show from what I seen.
Yeah, it was a fun time. Not so much on the production end, but we'll work through it.
Wow.
We'll work
What
through
are you
it.
gonna do?
Hey, I had a great time in production. That was
Your end of production.
Yeah.
was a
Also,
blast.
well-oiled machine.
in case anyone that it wasn't Nikita Lyons that turned and helped Dusty. It was Nikita Koloff.
Yes.
Nikita Lyons can turn on me any day.
I think she would have been a little young to help Dusty at that point if she was alive.
I don't want to take many finishers in this world, but that one I might take. Just to
What is it for the split leg drop?
Just she just drops her butt on you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the split like who Christy Hemme used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think hers is more like the earthquake.
Yeah, more of the ass to the face than Christy's was like a leg drop.
It was like showing off how flexible Christy was, where this is the mix of flexible but
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's get into our housekeeping is all out of the way. We're excited. Well, thank you guys once again. It means a lot. But let's get into the episode here. Towards the end of the episode, we will talk current event news. So if you want to hang out for the bonus hours, we try to end the podcast now around an hour and a half, hour and 45. And then we give you the bonus content when it comes to maybe the extra hour or 45, 30 minutes of current day.
Mhm.
And then local promotions and stuff like that. Next week, we already have our episode squared away. I'll put it on the screen before we start. So next week, we will be talking about
Speaking of heels, villains.
He's a man.
Bunch of
such
men.
a man.
the history of William Regal.
Or the history of Lord Stephen Regal.
That was the best music. I played as him and I went through the career mode in WrestleMania. Was it 18 or 19 for GameCube?
Yep.
Because he had the power
Oh,
to
is that the
punch.
one
Yep.
with the crazy thing where you're like fighting
you could
and
throw
like
people
loading docks and
Yes.
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It wasn't No Mercy, but it was pretty good.
So we hope you're excited for next week's episode. The week after that, we will be covering both Clash of the Castle and All Out. That will be full panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the panel. We're going to keep it a
Mhm.
4-man booth and rotate
Four-person
booth because we're going to rotate Austin and Kelly each week. Next week, Austin will be joining us. And then the following week, when we do full show reviews, like All Out and stuff
Yeah.
like that, when we talk about something coming up, the full team will be here. So all 5 of us will be here then, and we'll be discussing the show. So yeah, if there's any topics that you want us to cover, our shows, our people, our events, get creative, make us think outside the box. Send them our way. Send it in the comments.
Mhm.
Put
a
them in the-
match type or
Yeah,
something.
put them in the review. Get as long as creative as you get as fans, we will do our best to make sure that topic
a
gets done.
certain feud. There you go.
Sure,
A
yeah,
building. you know?
yeah. We will
Sportatorium.
Yeah.
challenge us,
Scope, baby.
challenge us, and then acknowledge
Scope.
us.
Scope.
And Norfolk.
Norfolk.
Norfolk,
What?
Virginia.
What? How do I say? What's the? I don't know.
Worcester.
Worcester, Massachusetts. Worcester.
I can't say the sauce.
Yeah, Worcestershire.
That's
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. It's called W sauce.
Yeah, I could get the horsey sauce.
Anyway, for the name of the town now,
Worcester.
Massachusetts.
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Andy, kick us off. Give us your first turn.
I'm just gonna. We gotta start right at the top. So there's 3 big ones
Yep.
that people think of when you think of a face or heel turn. And one of the most biggest is probably Shawn Michaels turning on Marty Jannetty and throwing him through the barbershop window. That might be number 1. Sometimes it's number 2. We'll talk about number 1. But that's
I
like
think what makes that turn so iconic, it's a turn that led into a megastar career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the turn that had the most implications going forward for the history of professional wrestling
Yeah.
when it comes to a person's career.
Oh, yeah.
You
It
know
was
what I
a
mean?
catalyst to a completely different time period in WWE's history.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's why it rivals maybe better than the number 2 spot that you'll probably say.
yeah.
Is
to
because
be-
instead of only being like a 6-month thing, and then it kind of dies off, and it's like, oh, remember that time period? It's one thing, but like that turn launched Mr. WrestleMania, the showstopper, launched just a huge monster career, and it
Yeah.
all came.
I mean, it
through.
wasn't real big at first, but it got there. you know.
Yeah, but-
I mean,
But
it was.
it went the way you should have, especially back then. You go, you get the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, he was
you stay
Intercontinental
that
champion within a year.
Yeah.
and I guess everyone has always launched every turn after that, especially when it comes to tag teams turning on partners.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that
There's a Marty and there's a Sean. It's
Yeah.
usually
Poor
true.
Marty.
It's usually true. I mean,
Yeah.
Marty did have
Marty-
a good career, but
talented.
he ruined a lot of it. He ruined himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with
On
the-
worst end.
Yeah.
but everyone thinks if you just turn on your partner, you're going to be the next Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
but
Not
there's more to
necessarily.
that.
Sometimes it's the other guy that gets bigger. But
Yeah.
I mean, this coined the phrase barbershop window, like the old
Yeah,
shirt company.
There used to be a lot of the funnier shirts I have were from the old barbershop window store.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, like if the tag team takes a picture in front of like a barbershop, like, uh-oh. Like,
Yeah, so that is, I agree, that is my number 1 as well. So
Yeah,
we're not
that's-
going to go around. I'll kind of go around and give everyone an opportunity to say one, but I personally didn't write a list because I feel like we're going to overlap so much.
Oh
here.
yeah, probably. Austin's probably.
I
gonna
went completely out of the box. I went for things that impacted me and what I watched.
I like it. I'm into that. Yeah.
Because again, like we said at the beginning of the show, yeah, it's titled best, but I'm going very subjective.
That's your best.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I will skip you then.
Fair.
Because I know Brian's going to probably talk about the number 2
It
Hey,
was
that's
term.
fun.
Oh yeah, we're
It
going
was
with-
when Chris Jericho liked Trish, but then she went with Christian.
Them damn Canadians.
Outbreak Wrestling. I'm assuming that's Vox. Said they led up to the HBK Marty splitting up for months. Even in the WWF magazine, it was such a major storyline at the time.
Yeah.
If I can find that issue of
So what year was that?
of WWE Raw, of the
No.
WWE magazine, where it's like,
89?
are the Rockers breaking up? I would love to own that issue.
Get it framed. That would
Yeah.
look cool.
So yeah, somebody's got to
I
bring
think
this one up. I'm going to bring up some historical honorable mentions just because I've read about these and I didn't really.
Well, hold
see
off,
them,
because
see them.
maybe some of our honor mentions are on this list. Like,
Okay.
we'll if they're
I'll
not
be
mentioned,
surprised if any of these three. Maybe one of them. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I would say. Andy
if they're
might
not
have
mentioned
one
at the end, throw them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give one that's pretty obvious, and that's you fans can stick it, brother.
No.
Hulk Hogan drops the leg on Randy Savage and undoes a decade and a half of Hulkamania.
Now this was when it made the news. That's how
Yeah.
big it was.
Yeah,
Hulk
breaking
Hogan
news: Hulk
turned.
Hogan is a bad guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like seismic shift in
Yeah.
wrestling world.
Once again, another heel turn that has been chased ever since. When does the golden baby face turn heel?
Yeah.
And I mean, we kind of got it with Roman.
Even though we got it with Roman was portrayed in ring as a heel way before his actual.
Yeah.
turn.
It wasn't
Yes.
like the real abrupt.
Yeah.
And that was
And
just like, oh, he's a bad guy.
The one
now.
that
And you never
everybody
had
always
those-
wanted.
You never
is
had
Cena.
that. Yeah, you never had that 10 years where Roman or even Cena was universally beloved. Like Hogan didn't have a whole lot of 50-50 crowds. There were little moments like when he screwed over Sid, and when Sid threw him out in the Royal Rumble in '92, the crowd cheered, and there were little moments where there was a little bit of a swell against Hogan, but
Yeah, like Catering 93.
by 1996, the fans were ready. Hogan had to be convinced, but the fans were ready. And it rejuvenated his career. He would have been very stagnant. WCW probably doesn't overtake WWF. WWF doesn't go into desperation. You want to talk about dominoes falling. WWF doesn't go into desperation mode and launch the Attitude Era. And you can say if Hulk Hogan doesn't turn heel, we probably don't get Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And if you don't get Stone Cold, you don't get The Rock as we know him.
It's huge. That's
Yeah,
why.
and you
That's
got
why
the-
1 and 2.
And then you get the NWO. It's like, oh, who's the third man, brother? You know.
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
they always said Bobby Heenan ruins it by, well, whose side is he on? Which
He
I
said
don't
he
think
was-
he should have said that, but well, yeah.
He said they didn't smarten the announcers up to who was going to be the turn. But when you come out, you know Hogan's turning.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah. But Heenan's whole thing was, and I wouldn't have done it, but his whole thing was like, I've hated Hulk Hogan forever. That's been my whole gimmick. I would, if I'm being true to Bobby Heenan character, he wouldn't trust Hogan.
Yeah,
And that was a big thing after. It's like, I told you he was a bad, I've been telling you for years
but
Yeah.
like,
that Hulk Hogan's no good.
but Jerry Law always hated Bret Hart, but then when Bret Hart turned bad, Jerry Law was, well, I kind of like him now.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And just to be that Shawn Michaels fan, NWO is essentially just a click in a different T-shirt. They just
Well,
replicate.
they were the click,
Yeah,
except
they
for
just-
one guy.
Yeah, they just replicated what they were already doing backstage,
Yeah.
just in another company. So
And-
all
and
things lead to Shawn.
And
you
a
know?
lot of the spirit, well, I think a lot of the spirit of what the NWO became, that was more Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
was more of them.
Yo, they were fantastic at the role. I mean, Hogan's always talked about as obviously the NWO,
Yeah,
and that the
but he
turn
was
is
so-
huge. But everybody wanted to be the cool two two cool dudes in the ring, and
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
Scott Hall. and
Hogan
Kevin
was
Nash.
still kind of doing 80s promos at first. You know,
Mhm.
let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy now. Then
Yeah.
he eventually did change.
And the other inspiration for just the NWO in general, not so much the Hogan turn, was New Japan. New Japan and UWFI had a big interpromotional feud. And you had other things like Seiki-gun against Ishin-gun. You had like warring factions in Japan a lot. But Bischoff went to New Japan and they did this. And UWFI was another promotion. They were a shoot-style promotion. And they sold out stadiums a few times doing New Japan versus UWFI. And Bischoff was like, this promotional war thing can make a lot of money.
Yeah, I can't get the WWF. I can almost kind of get it.
And they
I can
did try to,
pretend.
and initially they did try to make it sound like WWF, Razor Ramon and Diesel are coming to invade on behalf of the WWF
Yeah.
until WWF sued and said you can't do that.
All right, Austin, we'll circle back to you. We got the two big ones out of the way.
So yeah, so mine are all gonna be like both of those, I think, objectively can kind of be looked at as best turns all time because of the seismic shifts in not only their stories but wrestling as a whole.
Mhm.
I have a clear number 3.
These
There you
are
go.
way more specific towards, again, my era of wrestling. So the first one I have is Matt Hardy turning on Jeff Hardy again, specifically at the 09 Royal Rumble.
Is that when the fireworks go off in his face? Matt Hardy did it.
No, so that is the feud with Orton. That's like right before this happens.
Just when he helps Edge win the title.
Yeah, he helps. So yeah, it's a no.
Everybody thought Christian, because everybody knew Christian was coming back. Everybody thought Christian was going to be behind these attacks on Jeff.
Yeah, and then there's a ref bump. Matt brings chair in for Edge, or no, for Jeff, and brings one in for himself. Brings Vicky into the ring, puts the one chair, stops Jeff from hitting Edge with a chair, and says no, put it under his head because the concerto, yeah. And then as soon as Jeff puts it down, Matt's like, "Yep, you ready?" And then whacks him right in the head with the chair. So I know, again, it's not the first time that these two had turned. Well, specifically, Matt had turned on him. But like the Orton feud specifically, Matt on screen had just had like his appendix burst and Orton punted it backstage. And then we saw like one of the best OMG moments from that time period of Jeff Hardy jumping off of the side of Raw's stage on Orton.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff at that point had proven to Matt that he was going to do anything for his brother. But then Jeff is WWE champion.
Yeah.
And then Edge is WWE champion. And he sees both of those guys feuding over a title that he hasn't come close to and says, you know what? I think this is the straw that's going to break the camel's Matt.
There
Like,
it is.
It literally was the beginning of breaking Matt Hardy. So
Yeah.
And he still never got close to it.
Nope.
Yeah. And he never will.
Nope. And I think, but like that moment, I really do feel like that is the beginning of like the broken character starting to formulate, because the WrestleMania match is them literally trying to kill each other, where Jeff like ties him up it's the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. Jeff Hardy ties him up and he's about to hit him off the ladder. Matt's like, no, don't do it. I quit. And then Jeff does it anyway.
Yeah. I may have what you have in your head as a number 3.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll see here. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm going to go a little more modern day.
Okay.
Well, not super modern day, but modern day. I know there's some older school ones that
There's a big one lately.
Larry Zbyszko when he turned on Bruno.
That
Yeah.
was one of my honorable mentions at
um,
the Hamburg Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
I will say when Seth Rollins
Yeah, that's what I thought.
turns on the Shield.
Okay. Yeah.
It essentially breaks up the Shield, which they all go on to.
Then who did he hit first? Dean or
Dean.
Okay.
I thought he hit Roman and Roman falls into, he hits Roman. Roman
Yeah.
falls into the ropes and Dean's sitting there like,
Yeah.
why would you do such a thing?
That turn led to pretty much all of them. I know the term is overused now, but it led to the all become Grand Slam champions. They all pretty much went on to hold every single title they
had
could
the world title
possibly.
at that point, right?
Yeah, they all went on to hold every single title they could possibly hold. They've all went on to be top players of the company
Mhm.
as solo competitors. And then when they always reunited the Shield, you're always like, is a turn coming
Yeah.
again? Is Seth going to be that? And Seth always, it turned him into an ultimate tweener. Where is he a babyface? Is he heel? You never trust
he
the
was
guy.
a full out heel.
Yeah.
The
For a
authority
while
run.
Yeah, with
Double
J&J
champ.
Security.
Yeah. Great. I thought it was a good turn. It was done
Oh,
very
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the shocking out of nowhere thing, and it was time.
And moment-wise,
yeah.
it was right after they feuded with Evolution.
Yep. The night before they had beaten Evolution. It was an elimination match, and they swept them. It was a great match too. I think they had Blue Tista.
Oh yeah, remember
yeah,
that?
the blue trunks. And yeah, and it was an incredible match, but it was 3 straight. Like nobody on the Shield got eliminated. They buried Evolution 69 because that was Batista's last match until he wrestled Triple H at WrestleMania a few years back. And they really went hard on the idea of like the Shield is dominant. And then Triple H says, I'm gonna fix this. And he fixes it by getting in Seth's ear and saying, we'll protect you. We'll take care of you if you come in with us.
It made sense, and that's
Yeah.
when a good turn is when people kind of want it. You know, they don't know they're gonna get it, and they're like, okay, we got it. That's
Yeah.
You
fine.
always they always say you want to turn somebody right before people are like they should turn. Right before that is when like
Yeah.
the sweet spot.
I mean, but sometimes it's hard to like. How do you know when the
yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
How do you know like the crowd's going to lose faith in this guy. Like you don't. It's sometimes it's just too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Shout
Shield
out,
definitely
shout
showed
out real
mileage.
quick in the chat to Ricky here. He hangs out with me a lot on the Tantalizing Tony show.
What a name.
You can tune into us at the Tantalizing Tony YouTube channel. If you go to the very bottom, he's there. But Ricky was just in a really rough car accident.
Oh, boy.
He could have been well worse. One of the big things we talked about a couple of years ago was Matt Travis riding his bike and get hit by a car.
Garbage truck.
Garbage truck and
Turning the wrong way.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Ricky was in the same situation, riding his
Oh.
bike to work and gets hit by a car.
Oh, jeez.
He's good. He's alert. He's a little banged up, but he's gonna make a full recovery. But
Get well soon.
yeah, get well soon, brother. We love you.
And that name, Ravishing Ricky Ramon. What
Ravishing
a
Ricky
name.
Ramon. Every time he gets on the stream, he has to do the swivel those hips. But yeah. I'm sorry. Let's get to our next turn here. Andy.
All right. Going to the 80s.
Yeah, mine are going to be 80s,
Yeah.
early 90s from here
I'm
on
gonna
in.
go back to the 80s. My third one is when the Mega Powers explode. That was the two top faces, and then Macho Man, you slowly see the things. I see lust in your eyes. Hogan.
in your own.
Yeah, when Hogan has Liz up and he puts his hand kind of on her ass, but not
Yeah.
really. Macho's looking. He was so great at the little turns, and then we went when Hulk carries her to the back after she gets hit. When I think they're wrestling Twin Towers.
Yeah.
right?
And
And-
Savage gets thrown out of the ring, goes right into her. And
Yeah.
she takes a bump
She
and a
does,
half.
yeah.
She gets walloped.
Yeah.
And he goes in the back and flips out in the old school hospital room. They call it the hospital
And
room.
they mess up. He's like, count me down, brother.
Yeah.
Like Hulk's like praying over Liz, like,
Yeah.
count me down, brother.
And then Macho Man comes in. But that was great. The Mega Powers exploded and led to the big match at
WrestleMania 5.
Yeah, WrestleMania 5.
That turn was on the main event, which was they would do Saturday night's main event, but the main event sometimes was on a Sunday, and it was prime time. Like they only ever did it twice. It was that match, and then the Hogan Andre match, which is still the most watched match in wrestling
Isn't
history.
that crazy?
Like 30 million people watched that match. It did
Jeez.
crazy rate. It did like NFL level ratings now,
Yeah.
like NFL playoff level ratings now, and so there was a big deal.
Yeah. And it kind of seemed like they put them together just to turn Randy.
Oh, totally.
Like, that's the whole
Totally.
reason. Like, okay, we're here. How do we get Randy
It was a
heel
one-year
against
plan.
Hogan? You know,
Yeah.
yeah. And they did the whole Mega Powers explode, put him as a tag team. You know, they didn't win
Have
the tag
Savage
titles, but
Do a year as a champion because Hogan's going to be out filming No Holds
Yeah.
Barred. And the other great thing about that turn is if you look at it objectively as an adult, because WWF was for kids.
yeah,
And you're like,
Macho
oh,
Man's
Hulk
the
Hogan,
good
Macho
guy.
Man's mean, and Hulk Hogan's going to beat him. If you look back now, like, Macho Man was right.
yeah.
Hogan did have lust in his eyes for Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Hogan was hogging all the glory.
Yeah.
Like, Macho Man was right.
But he
Well,
was
that
portrayed
goes
as a bad
back
guy.
to like when we were talking about feuds or rivalries on our last one, the Chris Jericho one on Shawn Michaels. Chris Jericho was kind of in the right. Shawn
Yeah.
was faking an injury again, and he was like, you
Shawn
know
Michaels
what?
is
I
a
don't,
piece of shit. Yeah.
I don't stand for this.
Was a piece of shit. He changed it. He's done
Let-
everything.
Let's
in his-
ask Dax Harwood how much he changed.
It's not that he's changed it; it's that he occasionally wipes it.
I think he
Yeah,
changed it.
he's the boss NXT now.
I think him being in NXT and trying
That's
to help.
points against him.
Hey, he's vice president of talent relations now.
I think him
Yeah,
being
yeah,
in
they
NXT
announced
is
that today.
his newest, even like Black and Gold when he was there helping aging matches and stuff. He is doing everything in his power to help the next generation of wrestling get better.
Absolutely.
And not a lot of veterans can say they're doing that. Bret Hart.
Well, some can't do that. Like some people are really good in the ring,
Bret Hart can do more than
Yeah.
just try to bury everybody because he's a bitter old man.
but some people are really good in the ring and they can't help. They can't, like $1 Million Man. They said he's a great wrestler, but he can't train people.
Yeah.
Just can't do it.
Yeah. I don't think Sean's in there. I mean, he's probably in there taking bumps and stuff, but I think just him being
Yeah, probably
backstage.
not bumping.
Yeah.
Probably just more from a mindset.
Absolutely, yeah.
Unless there's like a specific question about, hey, how do we take this specific bump?
Yeah, but I mean, he ain't in there like up and taking arm drags from all the NXT kids.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, I don't
Bumping
really
feed.
feel like losing the title. How do I get out of it?
Yeah.
Fake an injury, dude.
Say you don't want to lose your hometown, brother.
Well, speaking of NXT, one of the other ones that I have on my list is two guys that I was not familiar with until WWE, but they had like a slightly historic career prior to it, is Gargano and Ciampa.
Yeah,
The 2017 TakeOver Chicago.
with the crutch. Yeah,
They flash the graphic of, hey, the show's over.
Gargano said that graphic was his worst enemy.
Yeah, and then still do the turn. But prior to that, their first WWE on-screen appearance is the Cruiserweight Classic, where I think they fight in the first round. And there's moments in that match where Ciampa could have knocked Johnny Gargano out and chose not to because he's like, no, that's my friend. Why would I do that? And then, like one of the last episodes of the Cruiserweight Classic, they team together and they win. and then DIY and NXT, and then the 2 out of 3 falls match with the Revival. That match is incredible. All the way up until the ladder match with the Authors of Pain. And that match is incredible. Huge ladders, scary bumps. Again, and Gargano literally takes a bullet for Ciampa with a ladder to the face. They lose, and doesn't matter, brother. Still,
And Champ was playing hurt that night too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. Because like he turns and then he's off.
Yeah, he
for a
tore.
while.
I think that night he tore his ACL or something. He was
Yeah.
injured in the match.
That graphic spot is so genius because
was.
it's you're so conditioned as a wrestling fan.
I'm gonna go to bed
You're like,
now. I'm gonna go to the
"Fuck, like,
bathroom.
we didn't get it.
And the first time they did it was the night Sami Zayn won the NXT title.
Oh, and Kevin Owens.
And Kevin Owens debuted that night and beat CJ Parker, who wanted to become a Juice Robinson.
broke Kevin Owens' nose.
Yeah, and so they're doing the big celebration because it was like Sammy had been chasing the title for a year, and the whole thing was like he was either going to beat Adrian Neville for the title or he was going to retire. So he wins the title, incredible match. They do a big celebration. Pat Patterson's in the ring. It's one of the last times Pat Patterson was on camera.
Sammy also refuses to use any heel tactics,
Yes.
use any advantages. The ultimate good guy.
Yeah, and Kevin Owens is there to help his best friend celebrate, and then he just beats him to death.
Yeah.
So
beats him to death.
with both of those feuds kind of highlight or showcased what the main event scene for NXT would be going forward.
Yeah, and there's still rivalries that if you put on TV right now, even though we've seen it 100 times, we'll eat it up every time.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're getting Sammy Kevin again. Thank you.
Yeah, and
If they bring Gargano back and he rivals Ciampa next week,
Yep.
you could literally do a complete Psycho reboot where you do scene for scene shot of the original movie and just do everything in NXT Gold, Black and Gold, and do it again on Raw.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of people didn't see it.
And I'm watching it. I'll watch it all over again, and I'll pretend I didn't know what they can do. They can literally do move for move. I won't give a shit. Sign me up.
much like the Mega Powers too. Like from the moment they put Ciampa and Gargano together, like, oh yeah, Ciampa's gonna kill him someday.
Yeah.
Ciampa's just gonna destroy
and
him.
the turn helped both of their characters going forward
Yeah.
because then Gargano started to take things seriously, and he's like, maybe I got to start doing things a little more underhandedly. Beats Ricochet for the North American Championship a little underhandedly. Eventually creates the Johnny Gargano way and this egotistical yet friendly dad to Indy Hartwell and Austin.
But that's when
Theory.
he turned heel. Then
Yeah,
that was after.
that was a while
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
No, but the eventual progression of him losing his mind almost, but
'Cause they
realizing
switched the title a couple times, right?
Yeah.
The NXT title.
Yeah.
Pronouns.
Well, yeah, because Alistair got hurt, this person got hurt. There was a bunch of injuries, and then they did the 2 out of 3 falls matches with him and Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Then you think for sure that he's gonna beat Andrade, and he doesn't.
Oh,
And then he loses his career and he's gone for a few weeks. And he has to come back for Ciampa, and he has to beat Ciampa to even keep his career in NXT.
Yeah.
And even then he does. And it's a shame that Ciampa got hurt because the idea was going to be that Gargano beats Ciampa for the title, but Ciampa gets hurt, so the title's held up and he's going to beat Adam Cole.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is like Johnny Gargano was such a good working babyface, like wrestling as a babyface. Like he is like just under Steamboat level as a working babyface.
he has that like in-ring presence of, oh, gotcha, or oh, you did this, I'm gonna do this even better.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say sometimes is a turn off for me with him is just the false finishes.
Oh yeah, especially that
It's like
era.
fucking 500.
That was
match.
just wrestling at that point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like when they ripped up the mat and they're like DDT'd each
Yeah.
other on the wood.
On the
and
yeah,
where he
still
cuts his
kicking
head
out.
off with a chainsaw and then sews it back on. And
It's
he
like-
pins him and he
it's a
still
little-
kicks out. Like,
It's a little much.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were good matches. That was the prime time of NXT. That was probably the height of NXT.
it was
I
wrestling.
miss good NXT.
Wrestling in general was very melodramatic at that time.
I will say though,
period.
a lot of people are enjoying the last couple weeks of NXT 2.0. From what I've been like reading online, people are enjoying some of the maybe not every single bit of the show,
Yeah.
but
No, I watched
the
bits and
meat and
pieces,
potatoes.
yeah.
People are saying there's a definite change happening here.
Well, I'm sure there is. I mean, that's at the bottom of his Triple H's pecking list, obviously. Raw,
Yeah.
SmackDown come first.
yeah,
Yeah, it will change in time.
Heatwave was fun to watch.
Brian.
So I'm gonna kind of piggyback on Andy's because we talked about the Mega Powers explode and that ends up with Randy Savage turning heel. But this comes full circle about 2 years later when you have Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7. Careers on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Savage loses to the Warrior, and his manager Sherry is flipping out like because her meal ticket is gone, as Gorilla Monsoon said. So she's kicking at Savage, pulling his hair, just beating up Randy Savage. And who's going to save the day? Well, they did note Miss Elizabeth is in the crowd, and she hops the guardrail with her glittery sweater with the stars on it,
and her shorter hair,
and runs into the ring, grabs Sherry, throws her out. Like Miss Elizabeth never ever got physical.
Yeah.
The most she would ever do is distract somebody, and very rarely that. And she grabs Sherry, throws him out, and then you have the greatest long-term storyline WWE, WWF has ever told is the Randy Savage Elizabeth through line from like WrestleMania, let's say 2, with George Animal Steel to 7, where Savage is a jerk to his manager, to Savage is a redeemed baby face, to he's an even bigger jerk now, to he's lost his career, but he gets the girl and he's a baby face again. He's found himself.
She always did love him, Brain.
And there's a guy in a shower cap crying in the crowd, and it is as good of storytelling as wrestling has ever been. It is, I've lost my career, but I found myself. And it's an incredible babyface turn.
Yeah.
And then they get married at SummerSlam.
Some good babyface turns already talked about in the chat. The Undertaker.
Well, that was going to be my third.
Oh, my bad. I'll hold off on the chat then, just in case people. But while you're there, go ahead.
Yeah, and again, it involves Randy Savage is he might be my second favorite wrestler now. I'm of two minds on this because I think Bryan Danielson may have leaped over him.
Yeah.
But Randy Savage was my favorite wrestler forever. And so he's having this blood feud with Jake the Snake Roberts because he ruined the wedding. He had a snake in the gift box. He had the snake bite Randy Savage in the arm.
Fuck me up.
And Jake is just an incredible heel at this point. And so the blow-off match, they had the match Tuesday in Texas. They had the encounter at the Royal Rumble. But Savage is going to go on to wrestle Ric Flair for the title now. So they blow off the Savage-Jake feud. It's Saturday night's main event. And they gotta move Jake on to somebody else, and Jake is on his way out of the company too. So Savage pins Jake 1, 2, 3, clean in the middle on Saturday night's main event. Jake sulks to the back. Savage and Elizabeth are celebrating, and they cut back to backstage, and Jake Roberts is right behind the curtain with a chair, and he's saying, "I don't care which one comes through that curtain. I'm going to hit him. I'm going to get him." And they show them back out, walking back, and it's going to be Elizabeth. Elizabeth is coming through the curtain first, and then she's going to hit in the face with a chair. And
I can imagine being like a kid, like being a kid again, watching this, and you're like,
Oh, no.
he's about to hit him. He's going to kill her.
yeah, he's going to kill Elizabeth.
Yeah, he's going to kill her.
And so Jake rears back with a chair. Elizabeth comes through the curtain, and you just see a gray gloved hand grab that chair. And The Undertaker's kind of been Jake's associate. They've been going after the Ultimate Warrior. They've been going after Savage. But Jake or Undertaker grabs that chair, and that launches babyface Undertaker.
Yeah, I'll stick with a current day babyface, and I'll do it for Kelly here, who's feeling a little under the weather today. Man, I don't remember a moment like we've had recently with Wardlow, just going from a heel as almost kind of like it's a Virgil moment that means more.
That's the one that's exactly it's $1 Million Man Virgil.
Yeah, it's a Virgil moment that you actually think, oh, this guy's actually going to get a career out of this. That crowd just is eating Wardlow up. He has everything
Especially
you want.
I mean, he's cooled off a little since that, but that was
it was hot.
like one of the best turns
The
in
only
recent years.
face turn that I remember having that much of a pop, and I didn't even put it down because I don't know how much of a turn it really is when Brian is with the Wyatt family for 2 weeks.
Oh,
And then the kickoff match, they lose, and he turns on Bray in the crowd.
You know what that was?
Electric.
That was Vince saying, "This guy's getting over. Let's try and kill it."
Yep.
That's exactly what that was. And the
was.
crowd's like, "We still like him.
Yep.
We're still gonna cheer for him."
And it still generated every pop that they could have gotten out of Daniel Bryan in that time period.
Yeah, there are still like certain baby face turns. Like people could say, oh, when Stone Cold turned baby or when Rock turned baby, but they always played that tweener. Like they stayed the same character, but they would just do it how you were saying. They would do it to the baby face and the heel.
Yeah, when MJF goes babyface, it's still going to be MJF. He's just going to be mean to the heel.
yeah.
So they're tough for me to say like full blown baby face. Maybe a baby face turn. Unfortunately, it was completely ruined by Shane McMahon. Was the Miz's baby face run?
Yeah,
Miz's baby face run was really well done. I thought it would have been really fun.
I forget how he turned.
Because Shane turned on him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shane beat him up.
And then
Shane
that
had
was
to
kind
beat
of
up
the
his
whole
dad.
storyline. Then
Yeah.
turned
Kind of like how Billy Gunn just turned babyface because his kids beat him up.
yeah.
Well, no, it actually turned when Miz was hurt during the Best in the World competition. and he was like a heel going into it, but then
Oh
like
God, I forgot about
he
that.
tried to rally
Yeah.
back as like a baby face and fight through the injury,
And
then-
Shane just stepped in.
and
and
Shane stepped in and took his match.
Well, he was the best in the world.
Shane McMahon won the best in the world trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they always did that when Shane was heel. They did the best in the world. Yeah.
Greg Hamilton.
Unfortunately, but Vince's babyface run wasn't the only one in his career for
Yeah.
the most part.
I
He
think, I
has-
think it was the only one.
I think he has one other. Because I was just watching Raws from the time period where I can't remember the match, but he's wrestling as the babyface. Like, there's clearly another heel in.
He was a baby face around 2013 because I was at WrestleMania 29, and the pre-show match he wins the Intercontinental title from Wade Barrett, and he's a babyface.
Yeah,
It's right before like the talking smack, kind
Yeah.
of him cutting promos again. As a
Oh
heel.
man, that was
the Lex on the Intrepid babyface.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
body slamming Yokozuna.
That is a big one.
yeah.
That was kind of out of nowhere too, because Lex was off for a little bit.
He was a narcissist.
Yeah, he was a narcissist, and the last time you see him, it's like he was a bad guy, and then you see him for a little bit, and it's like, what? Lex Luger's here, and he has a USA shirt on,
Coming in on
cowboy
a
boots.
helicopter.
Yeah,
I
He
have a
loves America now.
I have a heel turn that isn't huge because it wasn't really a turn on another person.
oh, okay.
But to me, it's impactful because I love this talent and I thought it was cool to see them make their change. When Hugger Bailey comes out,
I have that.
and the entire time for weeks leading up to it, she's wearing the Black Madness jacket, but it says like she's doing the subtle hints where she's super colorful, and then she starts wearing the black jacket, and the Black Madness jacket. And then one day she comes out and she has her hood up. She takes it off and her hair's cut off, and there's no side pony. And she just looks around and she kills the inflatable
Yeah.
tube on her arm. You know, and honestly, even since then, like it's hard for me to think of Hugger Bailey ever coming back because she's been so good as a heel.
Maybe in like 10 years, you know how everyone
Yeah.
has like their
Yeah.
nostalgia run.
Bailey's good enough that anything she does is going to work.
Yeah.
And that whole NXT run of her having Izzy, like that whole crowd period of
Yeah.
Izzy the super fan, and then AJ Lee wearing an I'm a Hugger shirt on Raw. And then there was the time period right before she gets called up where her and Finn Balor are going to all the house shows and they're doing each other's gimmicks.
Yep.
She was as over, and then they continued it to the main roster.
Yep.
She had the feud with Alexa Bliss where they had like a Extreme Rules
Did
match.
she cash in or she won a title and she went in
Beat
the crowd
Charlotte.
and everyone
Yeah.
was going crazy?
See Charlotte.
Yeah.
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 She had that Extreme Rules match with Alexa Bliss where she refused to use weapons.
And every time,
Okay,
every
yeah.
time she's a babyface, Sasha keeps turning on her, and they're like,
Yep.
"Get your shit together, Bailey! Like,
Yep.
stop being such a punk bit." And then she just turns. It was great.
I thought you should have came out like smoking a cigarette too, like real bad, like stereotypical bad.
5 o'clock
yeah.
shadow.
Yeah, so, yeah, makes no sense.
We're an eye patch now.
He's like, I'm real bad.
I'm bad.
I didn't pay my taxes. Like, what?
I love it. I actually told Tessa over the weekend, I was like, can you, if I said, I know this means nothing, but if you ever can put together a dream match for me, she goes, what? Let me guess. Me and Charlotte. I go, no, I want you and Bailey. I want you and Bailey for the champion. I'm just going to keep talking because it'll eventually come back.
Yeah,
And then when the audio does, there we go. Yeah, I said you and Bailey. I would love to see Tessa and Bailey. And she's like, oh, everyone says me and Charlotte. I go, I want you and
Well,
Bailey.
they say Tessa and Charlotte because of their fathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to see her and Bailey wrestle. I think it'd be amazing. Yeah. Andy, what do you got?
Okay. Let's do an indie one. Let's do
All
an
right.
indie one.
Oh, we're gonna indie
not
turn.
not real low level. Do you remember
Okay.
when so and so and 20 people seen it? No. So when ROH was feuding with CZW, and they had a big 6-man tag at the National Guard Armory, and they had the CZW team. That's ROH home territory because CZW at that point ran at the ECW arena, so that was like their place.
Was it the Armory or the Rec?
It was at the Armory.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're already done the Rec. They moved on because the Armory or the Rec was too small.
If you think you've been hot of the wrestling show,
Yeah.
you've
Oh.
never been to the Murphy Rec
Oh,
Center.
yeah, we ain't talking heat as in you're a good heel. Heat as in the temperature. It was awful. Anyway, so CZW has their team and ROH has their team, but somebody gets beat up, so they get Claudio to fill in. And Claudio comes out and he has his nice Ring of Honor jacket on, and he's walking around, and he comes down and he turns and joins CZW because he also wrestles CZW. And Chris Hero's on the CZW team, and he takes the Ring of Honor jacket and he rips it in half in the ROH crowd. It's like, oh no, you bastard. you."
Speaking of Claudio, do you see his match on Friday next week?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
No.
Him and Dustin.
Yes.
Oh, that should be pretty good, actually.
Hook it up to my veins. Yes.
I heard him and Takeshita was really good. I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, but I watched that one too. It was excellent.
Yeah, Claudio turns and he joins the evil backyard CCW trash garbage wrestling fuck. And then they had their AJ Death match the next month, I think, at the Armory. RH did win. But yeah, Claudio turned. I was like, oh, because you kind of didn't see coming. You're like, oh yeah, he wrestled for CCW too.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch, Claudio.
Ripping that RH jacket. I'm like, that was a nice jacket too. It was like bedazzled.
Was it pre-ripped, do you think? Or do you think?
Claudio probably could rip that.
Oh yeah, Claudio can do whatever he
Had him any
wants.
jacket right now. He can rip a leather jacket.
Did you see him manhandling Moxley last night? Just picking him like he's a child.
Yeah. He scares me. Austin.
He would be scary if he wasn't such like a. You could tell just he's a nice man.
Very nice.
Thank God for all of us. He's a nice man.
Yeah.
He's like smart Hulk. You know, you're happy with Hulk is like, oh, he won't
Yeah,
murder.
it's not going to hurt us.
Yeah. Speaking of She-Hulk, so good.
First episode, it's very good. And there no complaints on the CGI.
No, I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Or instead of She-Hulk, you could be a different superhero. You could be Drax. And you could turn on everyone's favorite underdog, Rey Mysterio, and beat the life out of him. So I don't remember what year it is, but Batista turning on Rey.
2006 or 7, because they also had the storyline in the video game that year where they won the tag titles.
Yeah, nothing more that I have this listed other than how traumatic this is for me as a child and how vivid. Like, I've seen this turn like a million times, probably more so than any other wrestling turn I've watched, just because as a child that those images of
so for you, this is the barbershop window.
Yeah, dude, Ray, I'm believing it. It's like when Batista does this to Ray and when Great Khali does like the vice grip to Ray's head. Those are two distinct memories that I have from my childhood of thinking, oh my God, Rey Mysterio's dead. Like, I couldn't imagine any worse of a beating. But yeah, no reason more than the actual turn itself was really good because Batista kills him.
I have another babyface turn.
That is my favorite Batista run, is that heel turn to when he leaves.
Yeah.
And he's just wearing
I quit.
Yep.
I quit.
He's wearing like outlandish outfits, and he's just such a great heel at that point.
Yeah. Brian.
I already gave my 3.
Do you have any more?
I had those honorable mentions. These are some old ones. I didn't live them firsthand because they were a little before my time. But one of them we did bring up is Zbyszko and Bruno. I remember renting a Coliseum video that had this, where Larry Zbyszko is, and this has been redone before or since, but Larry Zbyszko is Bruno's protege, and this is a real life thing.
It's like 79, 80. Am I wrong?
Yeah, 80. I think 81 because it leads up to the Shea Stadium show. And I always thought this was in Allentown. And then last year at the first Legends of Hamburg, Zbyszko's like, no, this was in Hamburg.
Tony Atlas tried to tell me that the coconut spot and that the Zbyszko spot and all of that never happened in Hamburg because they were already out of the building by that time. And I was just like, no, you're wrong. And he's like, how you gonna tell me, kid? I was here. I was like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, so is Gary Michael Capetta. And I was like, the first Legends of Hamburg, I'm like, Gary, where
I'm
did that
arguing with
happen?
Tony Atlas of the history of Hamburg. And I'm like, all right, I'll eat my veteran shit sandwich and just let him think he's right and walk away.
And Gary's talking about like, yeah, well, the heel locker room was here and the babyface locker room was here, and they had the hard cam and they just moved the hard cam for Piper's Pit. Like, Gary Michael Capetta gave me the whole rundown in last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's where the locker room is in Outbreak, is where they hit the Piper's Pit happened. But I always thought that Zbyszko and Bruno, that turn was in Allentown. And Zbyszko, straight from the horse's mouth, straight from Larry Zbyszko himself, was like, no, that was in Hamburg.
Yeah,
that was here.
No.
And then Antonio was like, or Vox was like, yeah, that's why we brought him here. So what happens is Zbyszko is Bruno's protege, and he really is Bruno's protege. He got into wrestling because he lived near Bruno Sammartino in Pittsburgh, and he talked about it in Bruno's Hall of Fame, or his Hall of Fame thing. Like, Larry Zbyszko's Hall of Fame speech was all about Bruno, and he would watch Bruno through Bruno's hedges, and Bruno like invited him in, took him under his wing, and he's this plucky young baby face, and he's like, Bruno, I want to wrestle you. I want to test myself against the best, and you're the best. I want to wrestle you. And so they have their match, and Bruno wins, and Zbyszko snaps and just beats him with like. It was the old wooden hand. Now that I think about it, it's the old. It's the current wooden Hamburg Fieldhouse chair.
Oh,
he's just beating Bruno with one, and Bruno he goes deep, and he's just bleeding a pool of blood. Like there's literally a pool of blood under Bruno, and it was so good. It was. I didn't know a whole lot about this until I rented this video, but the video has the whole like story of it, and they have that match, and then it all leads up to the showdown at Shea, the Shea Stadium show which, by the way, the undercard has a heel Hulk Hogan with Freddie Blassie against Andre the Giant.
Wow.
The first big match they had where Andre wins. And then the main event is in a steel cage, Bruno Sammartino, who's past his prime here. He's semi-active. He's usually an announcer. He's usually announcing with Vince. And he's getting in the cage with Zbyszko, and it's a great match. They work the arm. Bruno blades the arm. His arm is all gushing blood. It's so much fun. And Bruno gives the young whippersnappers comeuppance, and it's a great feud. The other ones I had, this one was in World Class where Kerry Von Erich gets a title shot against Ric Flair. This is before he wins it after his brother dies. And Michael Hayes is going to be the referee. So it's the Freebirds are going to help the Von Erichs because this is about Texas. This is about Dallas, and we're going to show Ric Flair. And they basically try to help. They legit try to help Kerry win. And Kerry's like, no, I don't want to win that way. And Michael Hayes turns on Kerry and helps Ric Flair win the title. And that launches the Freebirds Von Erichs feud that is the stuff of legend.
Which is they're probably the biggest feud of World Class.
Absolutely it is. And then the last one is when Ric Flair is getting in the cage with Dusty against the Russians, and he turns on Dusty, and they break Dusty's ankle in the cage, and that's the formation of the Four Horsemen. So
that's a big one.
And back then the Russians, like, you could be a heel. Even the heels hated the Russians because the Cold War is in full swing. So they were heels, but then they were the Russians. And if you sided with the Russians,
you're really
now you're really a piece
dirty
of shit.
swine.
Well, I mean, Slaughter.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was a little much. I think.
When he went and joined the Iraqi sympathizer.
And he had his curly boots that were a gift from Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, I got these boots from Saddam Hussein himself.
And they were gonna have him burn a flag. We were like, no, you can't do that.
That's too much. So burn a Hogan shirt.
Yeah.
Instead.
Another honorable mention here. It could be when he turns heel and then when he turns back to face. Are always going to be big talks about because he's the biggest spectacle in professional wrestling history.
Big Show.
Are we going to talk about all 36 of his turns?
Yeah, Andre the Giant. When Andre turns heel.
Oh yeah.
And then when he
and
turns
rips
back,
the cross off Hogan.
Yeah.
And Piper sells Hulk, you're bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hulk, you're bleeding.
Yeah.
Hogan, you're bleeding.
That sets up WrestleMania 3.
And then another one that we didn't talk about is actually a face and a face and a heel turn,
A double turn,
in
double
the
switch.
same match.
Oh, I wonder what this could
is someone
be.
bleeding in this match?
Someone passes out from blood in this match.
Oh no.
Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
Yeah, WrestleMania 11?
13.
13. Oh, yeah. That's
WrestleMania
right,
13. Heat.
Oh, Heat.
Yeah.
When the glass shatters.
Yeah. That's a pretty big one.
I have one
Although-
other one then.
Brett doesn't really turn until the next night. I mean, they're booing the hell out of Brett, but he does the whole you Americans, you Americans are savage. You cheer for Steve Austin. That was all the next night.
Yeah. It wasn't like, shut up, you idiots.
Yeah,
Like
high
that.
charisma on that guy. I will say, and then I say,
Hey, watch the Bret Hart El Dandy promo.
Yeah.
yeah,
Better than any promo Shawn Michaels has ever cut. in his
I
life.
will say
The
that
Bret
one.
Hart Canada's better promos were pretty good.
When he doesn't take
I mean,
himself
it's not The
seriously and
Rock.
has fun, he could
Yeah.
he could be charismatic.
Our beer tastes better. Our women are better looking.
Yeah.
If I were to give the United States an enema, I would stick the holes in Pittsburgh.
It's all good. Why couldn't he do that the whole time? Anyway, I'll say modern day babyface turn. This last Brock run.
Yeah.
Yeah, was there a clear moment when he turned on Paul? Well, the last one
When
he came
Paul
back and
turns
just,
on
yeah.
Paul kind of like sides with Roman and he comes back and he's just cowboy smiling.
Is that
smiling
SummerSlam or is
Brock.
that Mania? No,
Something-
it's got to be
Yeah,
SummerSlam.
smiling Brock
forget,
comes
yeah.
out and just greeting the fans and going to the fans and taking photos with them and
Yeah, having a good time, Brock.
doing interviews that he's never done and like almost giving people an inside look of him maybe on his last full-time
Yeah,
run we'll ever
probably.
see.
They've been saying that about Brock for almost 10 years
Yeah.
now.
I can see him coming back and doing like here and there
You
spots.
can see him
but-
come back,
but
and then
that's
you can
what
also
he's
see
been
him
doing.
never
That's
coming
what he
back.
always does
Yeah.
is here and there spots. He's never a full-timer.
But I think this last run may be the last long-term thing we'll see him for a while because he was
Oh.
on TV more than ever on
Yeah,
that
probably.
run. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that Fox money, they're giving a lot of that's getting funneled to Brock.
Yeah,
Brock
it was a
Brock's
little bit-
done very well for himself.
It was a little bit before that too, is when he won Money in the Bank. He was still kind of on.
Oh,
pretty
Boombox
consistent.
Brock
Yeah,
is great.
that was pretty good.
Boombox
Yeah.
Party,
yeah.
Brock Party.
So you said you have one more?
I do.
Oh, you do? Go ahead.
I do.
Yeah, I get pulled over. Like I wanted to say real quick, we talked about in the rivalry when Bill Alfonso turned on Taz and joined Sabu and
Yeah.
RVD after.
Because he bet on Sabu and he was mad that Taz
I
won.
got a lot of money on you, Taz. I got a lot of money. I lost.
What do you think ECW's biggest turn is of all time?
Ooh,
We talked to WWE ones. We talked to WCW.
it's well, Devon when he joined the Dudleys because he wasn't with the Dudleys at first.
The one I'm thinking of,
That wasn't the biggest.
We kind of talked about this in the prep for this because I know Andy said Salmon Jacket Mark Henry. I'm like,
Yeah.
not a turn. He was a heel going in. He was retiring. He turned babyface for that segment. It was like a false turn.
Yeah.
And then he ends up the thing being a heel.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where my favorite ECW one comes from. And that was when just setting up the feud here. Big blood feud between the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer. And Tommy Dreamer was not quite the kind of heart and soul embodiment of ECW like he is now, like the flag bearer of ECW. He came back. He was considered at the time a good-looking guy. They always said like WCW had their eye on him. He wore regular tights. He wore suspenders. He was a clean-cut babyface. He was a clean-cut babyface at the time. And he goes to Japan and he comes back and he's like, okay, we're going to try to make him. We're going to try to let the ECW fans or let him earn the ECW fans respect. And the way they do it was this is when the Sandman had just turned heel. And the Sandman went from at first he was Mr. Sandman, and which they got the name of a betting company. It was like Mr. Sandman Betting Company. They were it was back when the TWA was still around.
And from Punch Out.
Well, yeah, it was Mr. Sandman. That would have came out in what 85?
Yeah, but they didn't get it from Punch Out.
Mr. Sandman.
And Mr. Sandman was from Philadelphia.
Was he really?
He's built from. He was from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And so there was named that. But he got his name from this betting truck. This company, this truck that drove by. But he would dress up in a wetsuit, and because I think he was a team with Surfer Ray Odyssey, would do the same thing. But they turned him heel on Tommy Cairo, who was another guy in early ECW, and that's when he becomes the Sandman we know now, like the Zubaz pants, and he's smoking a cigarette and wearing a T-shirt,
drinking
beer. And this is around the time that Michael Fay was in the news. This was like one of those big news stories. It was the hot news for like a month or two. In the early 90s. Michael Fay was a teenager, like an 18, 19-year-old kid who goes over to Singapore and he spray paints a car. And Singapore has very tight laws. They had corporal punishment. So it's like his punishment, he would be in jail for like a few days or so, but he was going to get caned. Like they were going to take a rattan cane and hit him in the ass a few times. And people in the United States were like, no, that's barbaric. They can't do that to him. So it became like this international incident.
What if they brought that back and we got to watch like Trump get caned in the butt?
The Singapore cane.
I do not want to see Donald Trump's ass.
Yeah.
If it's getting caned,
no, I'll pass.
I'll pay pay-per-view for that.
There are some things you cannot unsee, and Donald Trump's ass will be one of them.
Or Vince bloody face going into Big Show's ass.
Oh.
So this is all big news. So the Sandman starts carrying around. Now they call it a kendo stick, but ECW always called it the Singapore cane. And so they have a match with Sandman, whose woman is his manager, Nancy Sullivan, Nancy Benoit. And they do a match where the loser has to take 10 shots with the cane. And Dreamer loses, and they just wail him. They wail the poor guy. And he's getting even the ECW crowd's like, okay, all right, you can let up now. And he's always, thank you, sir, may I have another? And to the point where after he gets his 10, the Sandman just keeps beating him with it.
At the arena.
That happened to me at a party that I used to go to. It was a find out who's going to the Super Bowl AFC NFC Championship party, and it was like a private party that you had to pay like a door, and they like if you don't know anybody, you can't get in. And in between the two games, they brought women entertainment, and I was the youngest guy there, so they asked for 2 volunteers, and they all pointed at me, and I'm blackout drunk. And I went up and they pulled my butt out and I got beat with a belt. I don't even know where the belt came from because it wasn't mine. And they beat me my dad said it was like 15 minutes.
Jesus.
And I was just laughing like, you ain't shit. And they just like beat the shit out of me.
The next day, like, ow, ow.
Yeah. The next day, Heidi's like, your ass is as black as your t-shirt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But I had my Tommy Dreamer moment.
So this culminates in an I Quit match. An I Quit match with the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer. And the Sandman's he's in control of the match. And he's so in control. He's just gonna hit Tommy with the cane, and in between hitting with the cane, he's gonna light up a cigarette because
Yep.
Sandman would smoke and drink beer, and that was his whole thing. So he's smoking a cigarette, beating up Tommy Dreamer. Tommy mounts a comeback, and the cigarette goes in the Sandman's eye. And Tommy's beating the hell out of him with the cane, and eventually they like stop it. And like, Woman does a great job, the referee does a great job, everybody does a great job of really selling like this wasn't supposed to happen.
Is that when
Like-
your dad said he followed the stretcher?
Yeah, follow the stretcher. Like they did like some sort of mosh in the ring, and he saw that was a distraction to get Sandman back to wherever they were taking it. Like they loaded him onto a hospital truck because they commit to the bit.
Mhm.
And yeah, he follows it all the way back. Everyone's watching what's going on in the ring, and he just
And he's like, "You suck. I hope they burn your other eye out."
that's
Yeah.
that moment.
So they treat this, and you could look back at it now and be like, okay, well, this is obviously an angle. Like,
But for the time, they did a good job.
yeah, and ECW fans prided themselves on being the smart fans, like they know the deal. But Sandman would always hang out in bars. He owned a bar for a little bit and called Hacks, because that was always everybody called him his name in WCW. And Sandman just stayed at home for a month. Told everybody, I lost sight in the eye. I'm done wrestling. I'm going to, I'm done. And he didn't go anywhere. He committed to it for a month. And they did a thing where like Tommy Cairo's being a jerk, talking about like but they did it in a way where like you can say, okay, well they're going to turn this into an angle, and they do Tommy Cairo against Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy Dreamer's dedicating the win to the Sandman, because the Sandman's going to retire. They're going to do a retirement ceremony. Woman's going to unveil her new client and everything. So they're fully committing to the bid. And the Sandman is in the ring with like he's got like tape over his eyes, like bandages over his eyes, and sunglasses. And Tommy Dreamer is like there doing the big ceremony, and he turns his back to the Sandman. Sandman whips off the sunglasses, whips off the tape, gets the cane, and just beats the hell out of Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
All right, what's your last one, Austin?
So the last one I had is it's supposed to be a tag team title defense.
Okay.
It is Cody Rhodes and Hardcore Holly against Ted DiBiase Jr. And Jr. doesn't have Ted DiBiase Jr. doesn't have a tag partner. So Cody and Holly come down first. They're in the ring. DiBiase comes down, immediately grabs a mic. He's like, "Don't worry, my partner is gonna be here. You can start the match." And he then goes to I think he like originally goes he goes out of the ring. He like hands the mic back, and then is like pretty much holding the tag rope and is waiting. And Hardcore Holly starts like walking towards him, and he's like, "Aren't you gonna get into the ring?" And from behind, Cody Rhodes hits him. So
This was back when Cody Rhodes was okay with turning heel.
yeah. So yeah, this is Cody turns heel, then hits Holly with whatever his finisher is at the time period, and then DiBiase Jr. comes in. So I don't know how this would be like written, because Cody Rhodes loses but also wins and retains
The team
tag
of
team
the team of
championship,
Hardcore Holly and Cody Rhodes lost the titles to the team of Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which this then sets up. It's the beginning foundation of legacy.
Yeah.
Is that a defense and retain, or is that a loss and new?
You basically lost to
I
yourself.
would say Cody Rhodes at that point, like if that was his first tag title, then he was on a second tag title
Yeah.
run.
Okay.
Didn't they do something similar with when Roddy Strong joined Undisputed Era?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah,
think they did.
It was like
Because it was Roddy
yeah.
and Pete Dunne. It was Cole and O'Reilly. Because Cole pulled double duty that night because he was in the ladder match too. And it was, I forget the other team, like AOP or something.
Either them or I don't know if it would have been too early. for the
Andrade
Street
and
Profits.
Aleister Black.
I'm going back to a moment in the 90s where they had like a 4-way tag team match for the titles, and for some reason they thought it'd be funny to tag in Billy Gunn when Road Dogg was in there.
Oh, the Outlaw Rule. Yeah.
And they just laid on the ground and pinned each other, and
Yeah,
are like,
yeah.
"We keep our belts, see ya."
Oh,
That's probably a Russo. I think.
so yeah, I'm not sure if this specific moment had been done before, but yeah, and then it eventually sets up Legacy's run. Orton as like at the apex of his heel work. He like, I think that's the time period where he RKO Stephanie, spits on everyone, is like over her, and then what that does for the tag team and Cody Rhodes and DiBiase Jr. is they eventually go on and have a feud with DX. Now, granted, it's DX and whatever iteration of DX, but still, it's Cody Rhodes and DiBiase Jr., who are very young at this point, main eventing and feuding with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They have 2 out of 3 falls matches. They have a Hell in a Cell match, and they have just overall a really good feud with literally the top guys who are running WWE now.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our current day wrestler.
Well, before we stop.
Yep.
There's one really, really bad turn
Okay.
we have to mention because it's probably the worst of all time. And even the guy involved with it says, shouldn't have did that one. WrestleMania 17.
Yep.
Steve Austin joins Vince McMahon.
Yep.
And beats The Rock. And it's like, what are we doing?
And drives a knife in the heart of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, and it's like water. And then they do the 2-man power trip with Triple H, and it's just not good. I mean, it was
Championship
funny when
and
Kurt Angle would sit when Steve Austin was commissioner, and he'd play this little ukulele.
Yeah, the little cowboy hats and all.
Probably the worst. There's another really bad one. I had it, and I lost it. I was like, oh man, that's.
Well, we have a question from the chat when it comes to modern day. Not that one. Nick says. Also, Nick says, ain't nobody better than that hitter, so we'll give him a little more props. What is your opinion on the MJF pipe bomb? Real or working?
If something is on TV, for the most part, if it makes on TV, they know it's going to be said.
Yes, that's
unless they go fuck, and then, but even then, like
yeah. If it the old rule of thumb, if it happened on TV, it's a work. Unless it's like a little thing, like we'll get into it in current news, where apparently Punk's whole thing about calling out Hangman Page was just him going into business for himself. But if it's a full segment like that, it's generally a work.
Yeah. Well, that'll lead us to our news. So that's the big news today, is Punk's promo last night, where he essentially challenges some Hangman to come down to the ring for a fight, knowing and Hangman didn't even know he was going to be brought up in the bit,
right?
So it makes him look like he refuses to come out and challenge. And then CM Punk calls him a baby for it.
Punk comes out hot to start. Yeah.
A coward.
That's not cowboy shit. That's coward shit.
Yeah. So it's like a guy in the back didn't even know he was going to get called out and then looks terrible for not coming out.
Apparently, they said that Hangman did an interview a couple days prior and said that he doesn't take advice from people backstage or something along those lines.
And I guess there was a spot in their match where I guess there was a hard spot. So they're saying this was Punk's receipt for the match.
Yeah, it was a promo leading up to their match where I guess Hangman alluded to something with Punk and Colt Cabana.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously a sore subject with them.
Yeah. So interesting that is this once again a work or a shoot?
Punk consistently throughout his career, I think better than most pro wrestlers, blurs the line between kayfabe and reality. I think he's done it his whole career, even back to the OG pipe bomb. I wonder.
Which was 100% a work.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly. So from day one of his career, people are always like, he makes you believe, and whether or not it is
good.
real. Yeah, because there is a lot of. And he kept the theme going out throughout his promo. It's stop me when I'm telling lies. Tell me when I'm telling lies. So the fact that there was like an actual theme around the promo makes it feel a little worked.
Yeah.
So, and he brought the references to WWE, which is good because in WWE, well, at least when Vince was running, no other wrestling ever happened.
Yep.
So if you feud with a guy somewhere else, it never happened.
Yeah.
Until the billionaire Ted skits. That was the first time.
Yeah.
And it was always Ted Turner is trying to put us out of business. It was never Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, so the thing it was that is we've all been saying the whole time that this all roads lead to MJF versus CM Punk. So is this the angle we get now going forward? Is like he kind of buries Moxley by saying you were never the best in your stable, you're never the best your whole career, and I'm going to prove that I'm better than you. And
he third best. He said he was the third best guy in Blackpool Combat Club.
Which, yeah,
he's right.
Yeah.
Maybe fourth. Well, Utah's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then he was the third best guy in the Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Third best Eddie.
Yeah.
Second best Kingston.
Yeah, which we talked about. And the third best Eddie.
And not even the best John he's going to beat in Chicago, as he said.
Well, that's true too. But
true.
Yeah, the third
he
best
wasn't
Eddie,
lying about any of it.
He was grilling.
It was like, okay, Eddie Guerrero, Eddie Kingston, who the hell's their Eddie? And I said some podcast, some Eddie guy that wrestled in ROH in the very beginning. I was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like,
So once again, he essentially is using his privilege in wrestling with his golden shovel to bury somebody.
No, but here's the thing. I do feel that it's a work, and it's gonna make.
Well, what I'm saying, I agree, a work. So MJF's rebuttal coming back is, you're this WWE guy ruining this company that you said you love so much. Like he already said before, if you loved pro wrestling so much for 7 years, you could have easily came back and did something else.
Yeah.
Where's your love for the business?
The other key part of this is everybody kind of assumed that All Out is going to be Punk and Moxley. unifying the titles, but that is now announced for next week on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
so
something screwy goes down, but usually AEW doesn't do it.
Yeah, AEW does not like to do the bait and switch. Usually, if AEW disappoints, it's like that firebomb match where they had a good idea, just didn't execute
Yeah.
well.
So if the rumors are right that Punk is mad and he wants to quit and he's not getting his way, da 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 da.
Well, let's get into this. Is the Fightful report.
Yeah.
And the Observer was in this too. So basically, what they're saying is Punk came very close to just not showing up last night at AEW. And they didn't see eye to eye on some promo material leading up to the feud. Back in May, it was told that rumor has it that Punk said he refused to lose to Hangman, and that basically several within AEW felt the situation from last night was unfair to basically the locker room was taking Hangman's side. Hangman is very popular. They say he's also non-confrontational. He's like, because they was like, what he's going to do? Blow by Tony Khan and go out there and really fight CM Punk and kind of ruin his career by doing it.
And this also makes sense for the promo that Hangman cut on Punk, saying when Hangman was champion, he's not defending just the championship. He's defending AEW from Punk.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see what Punk is like as champion.
Yeah.
So Punk, people think that this, in Punk's mind, like that the Hangman promo before was Hangman going into business for himself, and this was a receipt. So this is like, I'm going to check you back now.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. Maybe this leads to the MJF pop because they're happy that he took the title off the guy who's not respecting the talent and the boys.
The anti-hero.
Because MJF's going to use the dirt sheets on his promos to make the smart fans, like, to work the smart fans. You know what I mean? So he's going to come out and be like, "Oh, you don't like losing to the one of the guys who helped start this place?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, all that is material that MJF is doing on that you're just feeding him to turn him into the thing. Now, my question is does MJF turn into the does he essentially turn into the anti-Punk and also anti-Tony Khan movement as well? Is he like almost like your Stone Cold where he's anti?
Well, yeah. That right now, if you're doing that, then it's WrestleMania 14 and MJF is Steve Austin and Punk is Shawn Michaels.
So then what about the rest of the Pinnacle? I know that they're not together.
All the way down to the refusing to lose part. Punk's doing a great job of being Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, true. And now I feel like if MJF is going to come in as this anti-hero guy who's defending AEW, I feel like guys like FTR and Wardlow are very important in this angle as well.
I don't know. I think he's gonna be by himself. If he's gonna be a good guy, I see him by himself.
He's going to stand alone. Who is the guy backstage taping his fist so Punk loses to MJF? That's the big question.
Kingston.
Yeah, he could do that. Claudio.
Yeah, Claudio.
Two guys I wouldn't want to fight. What else we got in news?
So Kenny Omega comes back on Dynamite. That first hour of Dynamite was so good. Like, controversy or not, Punk's promo was very entertaining.
Real quick, Mick, I will not be live tomorrow on SmackDown or Rampage. I do apologize. We had some scheduling changes where we're gonna be live on Banging Beers tomorrow night because instead of doing Banging Beers on Sunday, we have a show we're
booked.
We're booked Sunday, so I'm booked Saturday and Sunday. So unfortunately, I will not be able to do Banging Beers on Sunday. So instead of making them wait 2 more weeks, we're gonna do it on Friday night.
So now that we're kind of out of that, out of the topic, is it okay to really quickly plug what we're doing on Sunday?
Sure, absolutely.
So we will be at Tilbury Hall in Nanacoke, Pennsylvania.
Tilbury.
For UCW Undisputed, the Tim Chandler Memorial Tournament. Undisputed Championship Wrestling, their very, very first show, a tournament to crown their very, very first champion. It is a venue which I believe is air conditioned. I believe. It does
I've
have
never been there.
It has a bar. So that's a plus. And then they'll be crowning their first champion. HC Loke's going to be there. Aaron Roxas is going to be there. A lot of our Ciaran Reigns going to be there. A guy who's improved leaps and bounds lately.
Any matches are announced or just named?
A tournament.
Okay.
There is a tournament announced. I'm trying to find. It's a one-night, 8-person tournament.
Okay.
I don't know if they formally announced any specific matches. But yeah, it's at 11 East Poplar Street, Nanacoke, Pennsylvania. Also announced a non-tournament match. We've seen this in Outbreak, and it was great there. I'm sure it'll be great here. Tag team action. Pure Ignorance, who definitely on our radar, I would say. Pure Ignorance is really, really great. Against our good buddies, the Diamond City War Machine. So that'll be a lot of fun. And if you don't catch it live, when it gets released, on the call, myself, Tony, and we're we're burying the lead here. We will be dwarfed in talent by our co-host Pete DeLong.
Yep, that's why he gets paid the big bucks and we don't. Also on the pre-show, you will hear possibly Joe Davis and Paul Bowe.
Yeah, there are going to be a
okay.
few pre-show matches. It's an afternoon show on Sunday. I think doors at 2. The show starts at 3.
Yeah, so a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
but if you're off Sunday, no big deal.
And Saturday, we will at least I know I will be officially booked. I'm not sure exactly if you're going to be joining me on commentary.
Yeah, I'll be there. What I'm doing, who knows? But I will be there. Oh, I think they do have matches announced. So it's I believe.
Oh, for UCW?
No, for UCW. Yeah. It looks like Luca Mancini and Aaron Roxas will be a match. Rico Hendricks and Ciaran Rain. Yeah, they have a few matches already announced.
But then Saturday we will be
TJ Epics. I'm sorry, TJ.
We will be at Backbreakers Entertainment.
Mm-hmm. This is outside of the grocery store.
grocery
so it's
store.
outside.
No air conditioning on that one.
Yeah,
I just hope we have
literally
cover
outside. Hopefully it's not too hot.
or I will be sunburned beyond belief.
I will bring it up right now.
If only they had a thing you could put on your skin to block the sun.
You see how white I am? That doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it'll be Quinn's Market in Archibald, PA. I assume that's a mom and pop grocery store.
Yeah.
So it's in the parking lot. So just go to Quinn's Market, Archibald, PA. I don't have the exact address here, but yeah.
Commentation in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. Justin Glory and Jack Molson were on PA Live on WBRE hyping the event. So
Been there, done
hopefully,
that.
Yeah. So hopefully they get some good people, good turnout there. I don't know what the how you pay or whatever. If it's free, I don't think it's
go
free.
in and buy
It's not free. I know general
know.
admission tickets are $15 in
Okay.
advance and $20 at.
So I
the show.
guess the parking lot will be real. I don't know.
No sure how it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be our weekend. We do have more shows. I think actually next weekend after that I'm off.
Yeah, next weekend seems light. I know the big thing locally is going to be Steel Stacks. LVAC.
Yeah, I will be at a wedding that day, so I cannot go to the Steel Stacks. But if you're Eddie Kingston,
Yeah, the third best Eddie's gonna be
an
there.
Orange Cassidy fan, he will be in Bethlehem at Steel Stacks for the LVAC
or
show.
if you're not from this area, Bethlehem.
Yeah, Bethlehem.
Yeah. And if you can't make it
Ultraman's
live,
Black.
you will be able to watch it live.
Boar.
You'll be able to watch it on IWTV later.
Yes, because I don't know if they can do it live because of internet issues.
Thank you so much, Nick. But all right, any other local news or anything news wrestling?
Oh,
Okada
yeah,
won
we have
the
a lot of
G1.
wrestling news. Okada wins the G1. Yeah.
Holy crap! Shocker! It all comes down to like
Will
3
Ospreay
people
were
every
gonna
time.
win, but Jay White did lose. He's the current champion, so it came down to Jay White and Will Ospreay, Okada, and
So we got Okada versus Jay White.
Tama Tonga was in the final 4.
no,
too.
Okada. Well, yeah, if he's still the champion at the time.
Yeah,
Jay White. That is.
Usually,
Wouldn't Ospreay been like the good move because it's like a new face?
I thought they were gonna go with Ospreay.
here's the thing. Japan is kind of insular, and there's a reason that only one non-Japanese wrestler has ever won the G1, and it was Kenny Omega. So just to be in the finals of a G1 if you're not Japanese is a big deal.
Yeah, and the only other two were AJ and Carl Anderson.
I told
And Rick Rude. Rick Rude was in
Oh
the
yeah,
finals.
recruit. Yeah,
I
91.
told Brian, I said, as someone, and I never watched New Japan Wrestling, and that's not because I'm boycotting it.
It's hard to watch.
There's so much wrestling, and I can't. I don't subscribe to it, and I don't think anyone here has a subscription that I can use.
I think if the rumors are true, let's piggyback on another story here. They're saying that AEW wrestlers are very much figured in for Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
I think I'll be getting a New Japan subscription in July.
There you go. So
or
maybe I'll watch
January.
some matches. But for people who say they're huge New Japan fans, but then complain because WWE only rides on 1 or 2 guys for multiple years at a time, but then say New Japan's the best in the world. But then you look at the win and loss columns and the championships for the most part, they're always the same 3 guys.
I mean, here's my thing on that. It's like, it's never necessarily 100% good or 100% bad to ride on 2 or 3 guys.
No, not at all. If they're
How
your
good are
aces,
those
your
guys?
aces.
How good are those guys is the
Yeah.
question. If your guys are Okada and Naito and Tanahashi, ride those guys.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Kenny when he was there.
Like I think because the guy right now in WWE is obviously Roman Reigns, and if somebody asked me over the last 2 years what has been the best part of WWE, Roman Reigns.
yeah,
But here's my I understand that all those guys are good, but I'm sure there's people on the undercard who are just as good, just not given opportunities.
We can say about any company.
Yeah,
Sure.
but
How many
when-
people in AEW aren't given opportunities?
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing with both
You
Roman.
can't push
and
everybody.
with
Yeah.
Roman and Okada.
You can't push everybody, but you don't have to push the same 4 guys 10 years in a row.
but when it's
It worked for Hulk Hogan.
and when it's a company
And
that
John Cena.
that is built around athletic competition, and Okada really does prove to be the most athletic competitor.
I'm
it
just
makes
saying.
sense for
I'm
him
just
to be
saying it
there.
seems like a huge double standard when Japan fans say it's boring to see John
I don't think
Cena.
all Japan fans say that. I can see them say, I don't like WWE.
I think you're building a strongman that doesn't exist as much as you think it does.
I don't know. When I see
I would
like
think
I only
more
watch
American
Japan
fans.
and I hate American fans who watch New Japan.
No, I'm saying American fans that have no idea what's happening in Japan would say that, oh, I'm tired of seeing Roman and Brock.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot
Yeah.
of times I'll see people wearing Bullet Club shirts in the past and be like, "Oh, Japan's
Well,
New Japan's better than this garbage."
That's
If you're
probably the
following New
worst.
Japan, you're probably not a big Bullet Club
Yeah,
fan anymore.
yeah.
I'm just saying when they were popular, everyone's like, "Oh, the reason I watch New Japan now is because I'm so sick of seeing John Cena and Roman Reigns."
Well,
and-
you could be sick of seeing John Cena and Roman. That's true. I mean, and then
but in the
something
flip
brand
side of
new.
your company, you're seeing the same.
But
two
if you're
guys.
just starting that, I mean,
Because-
and then it's the same if you went the other way.
yeah,
No?
It's just a different presentation. Like I think people tend to gravitate toward New Japan because they take wrestling seriously. The match quality is so good. And it was everything WWE wasn't for a while. Now WWE is starting to trend that direction since
Yeah.
Triple H took over. But it was wrestling taken seriously. It's like I think that if you ask people like who love New Japan what they hate about WWE, it's not going to be Roman Reigns. It's going to be the 24/7 title. It's going to be the goofy
sticky.
comedy booking. It's going to be all the sports entertainment stuff more so than they just keep pushing Roman Reigns.
yeah. All right, just making a point. Not a hill I'm dying on. Just making conversation.
Other news.
I don't.
Yeah. So apparently there may be a bidding war for Johnny Gargano. Definitely open to returning to WWE, but also
I don't think there's a bidding war.
Especially
talk
now that
to,
Triple H. I mean, if you're him, I mean, I'm
I think
listening
the
to all offers.
I think
I
the-
think he's already signed.
I think the
but
bidding war's over. I think there's ink on paper.
I think WWE is going to win that bidding war if there is one.
There's
think-
so much for Gargano.
I think Johnny won the bidding war.
well, if
Yeah.
if Vince was there, obviously he'd be out of there because
Yes.
he'd have no chance.
It's
But Vince
just
is gone.
It's just so insane that if this WWE thing doesn't happen when it does,
Yeah.
and this waits another month or two,
Mhm.
Johnny Gargano's not in WWE.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
if you can go the opposite way. If it happens a month or two before, Claudio's not in AEW.
Yeah. So yeah.
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole,
O'Reilly.
Miro.
Well, Adam Cole is.
You have to go back a year for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah.
True. Oh wow, it really has.
What an uneventful year for Adam Cole. I mean, one
Oh.
pay-per-view main event, but not that
Yeah,
great
not
of a
the
build.
best of years.
He challenged the title once.
He is an afterthought in AEW.
Yeah.
He's been in a storyline, I
mean,
guess.
Now he's trying to. I mean, he's kind of hurt, so I mean, you can't
Yeah.
go against him. But I mean, he'll be in the trios tournament, so
No, he won't.
something. Oh, yeah, I thought they were.
They're not. They're not.
They're
They're
in
not. They're not in the
They're in the
trios.
tournament. I'm pretty sure they are.
Nope, they're not. It's
They may be the first challengers then.
yeah. It's House of Black. It's I forget who's that bottom one.
Well,
Then
the
it's-
Bucks and Kenny.
Then the Bucks and
It's,
Kenny
the-
match just happened. Then it's Parker Bordeaux's trios team versus best friends.
Yeah.
And then it is
The Trust Busters.
it's fucking
So yeah, it's
the other spooky team.
so it's Death Triangle and United Empire, Osprey and those
there it is, yeah.
Australian guys. The Elite just beat the Ungobernables, House of Black and the Dark Order, and then Best Friends beat the Trust Busters.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's gonna be House of Black versus the
Kenny and the Bucks.
Or
the
if you're
Elite.
playing in the storyline, maybe somehow Dark Order gets past it because it could be Dark Order with Hangman in their corner against the Elite.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
It'd be cool for Dark Order to get a little bit of a push.
I don't know. I feel like the story there with Kenny, since he returned and he was playing up the injury, I feel like as he goes on, it's going to be him getting stronger as the tournament.
Abs- Absolutely.
now the
I don't
interesting
think
thing-
I don't think he's as injured as people think he is. I don't.
Well-
I think he came back 100%, and I think he's
I don't
good
think
to
he's
go.
100.
I think he's 100.
I think he's like more like 80 or 95, but he's good enough to wrestle, but not. He can't be wrestling 20-minute main events, but in a 6-man tag team highlight.
Sure, I don't think 20-minute main events is just because he's ring rust, but I think he's. I don't.
But he also took that dive from Dragon Lee
Yeah,
to the
he's,
outside.
That wasn't that bad.
He's fine.
It'll be interesting if
I still think they're building to the shirt ripoff.
I don't know.
think-
be interesting if United
Well,
Empire
I
wins
would-
that
He
match.
looks
I
jacked
wouldn't
on it.
pop much. I'd be like, oh, he always wrestled without
Yeah,
shirt.
he's always been in good shape.
But I'm saying,
No,
I
do
think
his thing.
underneath that thing, I think he's ripped the fuck up.
I think he's looking exactly the same as when he left.
I don't know. I think he looks. I think he looks bigger. I
Oh.
think he looks swollen. But also,
no,
Under
no,
Armour makes you
no
look good.
wellness test in AEW.
Yeah, no wellness. That's
Yeah.
AEW.
Harpo marks on the gas. So it'll be interesting if United Empire wins that match. 'Cause then
Yeah.
you have Osprey and Kenny
Yeah.
against one another.
I don't think they would, but you
Yeah,
never know.
probably
They could.
So yeah, maybe That's certainly going to be the first challengers after the Elite win the
Yeah,
title.
if they're all ready to go.
The other trios match they announced her all out. It's Wardlow and FTR against Jay Lethal, Sanjay
And
Dutt,
Satnam.
and Satnam Singh.
So that's concerning for me.
If I'm FTR, I'm gonna be like picking up my phone. Yeah, hey Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, my contract's up this date.
Now that Vince is gone.
When can I start?
Yeah. We had a good
Yeah.
NXT run.
Yeah.
You like tag teams.
You
Yeah.
have the best tag team in the world, and it's not that close.
You have a guy who's over right now. That is his run is getting stale as fucking Wardlow
And you're
because you don't know
throwing
how
him
to you don't know how to book a guy who's big.
And a
Yeah.
6-man tag.
You have the best tag team in the world, and it's not that close. And you're putting them against.
You gave a guy
Jay Lethal's great.
You
but
gave a guy
Sanjay Dutt and Satnam
confetti
Singh.
for the TNT title and have him put him in a TNT title match. Literally, I mean, one.
He
with
wrestled
Orange
Cassidy. He wrestled Scorpio Sky. He's had a few.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
You could be
He
doing
wrestled
more with him.
Lethal.
Yeah.
no offense to indie promotions, but this is when you take two champions and you stick them in a mixed tag match because you have nothing to do with them,
Yeah. It's like, well,
except you're on
let's
TV
put
and you have
him
a
here.
huge roster.
It makes you kind of believe in the conspiracy theory that
Yeah.
the Young Bucks are a little jealous and they're keeping them down.
When you
They-
don't
they
believe it
said-
at first, but then when you see it, like,
They
"Ah."
from everything that we've been
Yeah.
hearing, politicking at AEW is horrible right now. The politicking
Politicking
game.
in wrestling is
Yeah, but
horrible all the time.
that's even in the
term
smallest of
politic
indie
is
promotions.
never good.
Yeah, but I'm saying is AEW kind of build themselves that that's not what they are about. Now, interesting thing about the politicking.
Voiceover. That was what they were about.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Kenny's promo after the show went off
Oh, I haven't seen that.
and people filmed it is Kenny kind of alluded to, I'm back, and my whole mission statement here is it's not about the championships. It's not about.
Then why are you in a tournament for a title, Kenny?
Yeah.
Hear me out. It's not about. It's about putting on a good performance for you, the fans.
That's what Kenny's always been about.
So
yeah.
essentially, Kenny is trying to say to the back, let's drop our fucking egos and let's put good matches on and good
Hey,
story building.
Kenny's whole gimmick is like most of his career has been I'm the work rate guy.
Yeah.
I understand.
What it was?
The best bout
Yeah,
machine.
best bout
Yeah.
machine. Yes.
I don't know. I think the cryptid message to me is essentially telling the locker room, like, we started this company to not be like the other companies.
Well, I don't think
Let's
you
stop.
do that. I don't think you do that in a dark send the crowd home happy promo. You do
Yeah.
that backstage like, hey, cut your fucking egos out. Let's
Yeah,
go.
and then he also said, I may not be the best guy on TV for a while, but I want to let you guys know now personally that I care about you.
Even a 50% Kenny Omega is better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Any other news?
One last thing. Well, two last things. Three
NXT.
quarters of the former Hit Row have returned. Three more things. B-Fab and Top Dollar and Ashante the Adonis are back. They are now OG3.
And Dexter Loomis finally called Dexter Loomis on TV.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they did a little tease on NXT where Indy Hartwell gets a letter from Dexter, and then what's her name? Blair Davenport,
Yep.
B. Priestley rips it up. So yeah, they are obviously alluding that Loomis is back.
Candace and Indy would be a great women's tag team.
Yeah.
It would.
And the stuff with Loomis and Indy was always very fun. So I hope
Yeah.
they keep that going. Lots of rumors.
By the
that,
way, that's not the Fiend's glove that pokes out from behind
Yes,
the door. It's
Dexter
Dexter Loomis's glove.
Mhm. Yeah.
So fuck. And now if we want to talk Fiend, yes, he is in talks to possibly coming
yeah,
back.
it seems like that might be happening soon. Lots of rumors that well, Mandy would have to lose the title first, but Toxic Attraction might be on their way up fairly soon, possibly.
I can see that.
Good run in NXT for them. So good.
NXT UK is ending, and they are going to bring back or rebrand as NXT Europe.
Please
But
tell me
the-
your fantasy booking here, because he told me they're off air and I got a boner. Brian,
I was gonna say I
your,
have,
what did
your
I say?
fantasy
I
booking
have no
for
fantasy booking for
NXT Europe.
NXT Europe.
Oh, because you have the NXT UK title, so obviously that's
are
going to
be
retired.
merging. That's going to be retired
Um,
a championship.
It'll probably be like Braun Breaker against
What?
Pete or not Pete Dunne,
Or do you
Tyler
think-
Bate
Or do
to
you think they'll
unify
have
the title.
a separate title?
no,
I think maybe
they're merging the
it's-
titles into
yeah,
one,
they're merging.
Oh, they said that.
and then starting over when it's UK Europe.
Are we?
Oh,
Is it
okay.
time to bring back a title that was held by the likes of D'Lo Brown and
And the Bulldog.
Midian,
Don't.
and the one that Shawn Michaels loved so much that he wouldn't let the British Bulldog win in front of his dying sister?
Did Lord Steven hold it?
No.
Damn.
The European title, maybe.
Instead of don't call it the NXT UK title, call it the
European.
What
the
if you
European
get that and you
Championship.
put an NXT sticker over the WWE part?
Most likely,
See,
yeah.
I would have loved when Cesaro, when Claudio was the U.S. champion. I wanted him to like retire that belt and be the very European champion.
Yeah, that would have been good.
That was one of my favorite gimmicks he did when he was a heel in Ring of Honor. He
Make the main championship in that promotion the European Championship.
he did a whole thing where it was like very
Please
European,
God.
Ugh.
and it was so great.
The problem is a brand new NXT Europe title means more than the European title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Make it your
absolutely
major.
right.
Make it your main
If
title.
I find a title in the garbage, it probably means more than the European title.
Oh, I hate that.
And the other thing that sucks is that the UK title is so cool
I mean-
looking.
Oh my god.
The UK
it
title's
was- it
one of
was
the
very
best
nice.
looking.
But the NXT UK title also has so much good history that it could end the way it was.
Yeah,
Except for Dragunov's reign ending shortly.
Have a Walter go down and just win it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other sad thing is a lot of people in NXT UK have announced that they've parted with the company. Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, Wild Boar, Primate, Dave Mastiff, Ashton Smith, Nina Samuels, Danny Luna, Shay Samuels,
Wow.
Rohan Raja, Amir Jordan.
Now this is all time for you to hit your local independent scene in the UK.
Well,
there's a problem
NXT
there.
UK, the whole real reason they made that was to kill the UK independent
Yeah,
scene.
I'm saying
Although Progress is back,
Yeah.
yes, Big Damo just won their title. He'll be at PPW next
Yeah.
month.
So
what a nice guy.
a lot of the
Oh,
indies
Big Damo's great.
closed when NXT Europe kind of
Yeah,
killed them.
but I'm
or
saying you
NXT
can
UK.
you can reestablish it, and then when the Europe division comes back, now you have a home. Just work your ass off. Don't stop now.
It possibly.
Yeah,
No,
don't-
you can
don't-
go. You have to. You can go somewhere else. You don't
Well, the
have to stay in
thing
Europe.
is, none of
I want
them
to.
made waves in NXT UK. The only people who made waves in NXT
Walter.
UK, Dragunov,
Yeah.
Dunn, and Bate. And even Bate
Tony
hasn't-
Storm, but she was immediately.
And she
Everyone,
was in and out.
Well,
everybody's-
who was the first NXT UK women's champion? She's doing all right for herself.
fucking
Really?
I can't
what-
remember. I thought it was Tony Storm.
No,
who beat
she was
AEW.
no WWE.
Who was it?
Rhea Ripley.
Oh,
no.
was she?
Who's the girl
Oh,
who
yeah,
beat
my
Tony
God.
Storm before Rhea Ripley?
Huh?
Kaylee Ray.
Kaylee Ray. was the other one.
Haley Ray. That's what I was thinking.
Alba Fire now.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
I think she was after Tony. It went from Rhea to Tony to.
I
to-
forgot.
I'm
Rhea.
surprised Jenny never held that title.
I believe now it's Miko Satomura, who'll
Yeah.
probably stay around as a trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to go, and I heard that maybe the Triple H goes back to that mission statement where he starts putting in UK's in. NXT's. He wanted a UK Japan, never
I
happened.
mean, he's a little busy now.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that dream is
That's
probably
low.
dead.
Well, I will never say never.
Yeah.
Triple H comeback of the year. It was like, well, not only
put it down for the TTPs already.
Not only did he have his health issues, but it's like, yeah, Triple H was out of power. Like he lost the war to AEW. They gutted NXT. They fired all of his lieutenants, and now he's like, I'm the captain now. He's like
Yeah.
a Somalian pirate.
He said, "Look at me."
Yeah.
Took over. Yeah.
Look at me, Vince.
Yeah.
I'm the captain now.
That
We're
was
gonna say
kinda-
wrestling
that was
on our
kind
show.
of WWE in a nutshell. Like you went through the pandemic era and so many releases.
So the conspiracy theory now in the WWE fan base is that Tripp and Stephanie leaked all of the dirt to the investors
Oh, to get rid of Vince.
Oh,
to
yeah.
get rid of Vince.
Look,
I seen the one guy. He said Vince did it to take down AEW, and I was like, that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I can believe more that Tripp and Stephanie leaked information.
That's a little. somewhat plausible.
there is one thing though. Like, I always make fun of Shawn Michaels for politicking and everything. Nobody, maybe Hogan. Besides Hogan, nobody has ever done that better than Triple H.
Yeah.
No one has ever done that better than Triple
the
H.
cerebral assassin takes out
Mhm.
Pops. yeah,
I mean, everybody's talking about Nick. Well, also Nick Khan's kind of doing that too.
true.
Nick Khan just ran through everybody, and he's like, "Okay, you can come back now." But
yeah.
and then the other speculation, and this is the last bit of news here, is that WWE may be looking to sell. That could be happening. But then they did do their quarterly reports. They announced they've already spent $1.7 million on the Vince investigation. They may spend upwards of $10 million more. Mania is selling very well. I think 80% of the available tickets, and they'll open up more. It's like,
Almost sold out already.
Yeah,
well,
that's fine.
they'll add more seats because it's almost sold out for configuration of 50,000 seats. That building can hold, without a set or anything, 100,000. So they could open up more seats.
Yeah, like WrestleMania always usually do
Even-
well.
Even with a big set, they could hold like 80.
And that's with like already you kind of know some of the things that they're planning to
Like
do.
like SummerSlam, they had the entire almost hard cam was completely tarped
Yeah.
off. They couldn't do the Money in the Bank in the stadium because they couldn't sell tickets. Now with the new regime, they're 80% sold what they
Yeah.
lowballed
Well,
for,
it's also
for Mania.
I mean, nothing against Nashville, but
Hollywood.
yeah, it's not LA.
And like, what would
Yeah.
you rather go to? Money in the
Yeah.
Bank or WrestleMania?
It's not the
You know, like-
second biggest market in the country.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how Extreme Rules does. Like, how ticket sales is for that?
That's not in the stadium.
What I'm saying is,
Oh,
though,
with Triple H.
is there
takeover?
demand for people to now go see WWE
It'll-
shows more because
in a
of the new
stronghold.
regime?
Probably. Yeah.
It's in a stronghold.
Yeah, true.
There are a WWE pay-per-view in Philadelphia will always do well.
Yeah.
Always.
New York.
Always.
Do well.
That's why
It blows my mind how many wrestling fans, not even from that state, are like, "Oh, I'm going to Mania this year," and I'm like, I can't even imagine
A
thinking about
lot of
doing
people
that.
go no matter where it's at.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I went to 30 not 35. I went to 29. That was the last Mania I was at. And the hotel I stayed at in Parsippany, New Jersey, they had the free continental breakfast.
Ooh.
The next day, eat the
Love it.
continental breakfast, and somebody else walks into the kitchenette area, and they're wearing WrestleMania shirts. Like, oh, you were at WrestleMania too? Like, yeah, we go every year. We're from Boston. And this is, and they just made the 4 or 5 hour drive back down to.
I've never been to a pay per view.
Oh, I've been to some. I've never been to
wow,
WrestleMania.
really?
I don't think I ever will.
You won't go to Philly?
No.
Not even
It's too much.
Not if we get like $40 cheap seats.
No, I
No, the
because
$40
that's not-
cheap seats are $100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not fun for me.
No?
No.
No, I was.
I'd
in the
rather
cheap
watch
seat-
it on TV.
I
I
was in the
consi-
cheap seats for 29.
I
It's pretty-
considered going to the one in LA because I would have been able to visit my sister, but
Yeah.
then that's awesome. That would have been a whole trip outside. of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
If you want to help us get to pay-per-views, Patreon and t-shirts help us. Yeah, we're a broke podcast.
The other thing they're talking about now because they did this for Clash at the Castle, they've been doing this for WrestleMania for like 10 years now, but they're talking about doing it for SummerSlam and for the Royal Rumble, a bidding process where cities will actually submit bids like they do for the Olympics, like
I
they
love
do for
it.
the Super Bowl.
I'd love to
to-
see more international pay-per-views for WWE.
Well, it's not just
Well-
that. I don't think you're ever going to see a WrestleMania maybe they've done it in Canada, maybe in Mexico,
Maybe.
because I don't think you'll ever see WrestleMania. They were like, oh, do WrestleMania in London. It would sell out. They could do a 200,000 seat stadium. It would sell out. The reason they won't do it is because of the time difference.
Yeah.
WrestleMania is not going to be tape delayed. When they did SummerSlam in London at Wembley Stadium, still the biggest house they ever drew, like ticket wise, biggest paid audience they've ever had. But this was in 1991 or 92 rather, and it was tape delayed. They taped it one night and showed it like 2 days
Well,
later.
maybe instead of like Clash of Champions, like how they're saying Clash of Clash of Castle,
Flash at the Castle.
Yeah.
Clash at the fucking I don't know.
You could always have a
the-
side
the-
pay per view.
Like make an international Mania.
They've
Like,
already they're not going to call it WrestleMania.
no, but I'm saying
They've
you
done
can
this
build up
already.
a pay-per-view.
They've done that already in
Super
Saudi
Showdown,
Arabia. Yeah,
Australia.
yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
as
that's
well.
Australia.
I'm saying a country that's not,
No, but
They
Australia.
did it in Australia.
Yeah,
They're doing it in the UK. They're already doing this.
yeah, I love it. I think it's cool.
No, but you're right. When you have a show that's going to be airing at 1:30 in the afternoon on
Yeah.
a Saturday or a Sunday, yeah, especially when
They're-
football season's coming around.
They're not going to do
Watch that.
WrestleMania.
I can care less.
They're not going to do WrestleMania at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They used to.
Yeah.
Like WrestleMania used to be like the last one I think was 10. 10 was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. They're not going to.
I do remember watching Sean win the title, and it was like it wasn't
I
at
think
9
it was
o'clock at night, 10 o'clock
No,
at night.
no. When Shawn was winning the WWF title, it was. Yeah.
The Iron
Was
Man
it?
match was late. Yeah. That was probably normal 7 p.m. start time.
Well, also it was in LA, and they're not going to do.
Oh, yeah,
they're not going
so-
to do 1 o'clock in LA because that's 11 o'clock in the morning there.
All right. Anyway,
10 o'clock.
any other news before we wrap up?
The other big thing was they did look into Vince's moving money around, and I guess $5 million of this unrecorded expenses went to the Donald Trump Foundation.
Oh boy.
Between like the years of 07 and
So he
2018,
can
when
pay
he
for
was showing
girls.
up.
Yeah.
So Trump can pay for girls.
Well, no, McMahon gave the money to Trump.
Yeah,
And it was when Trump was involved with WWE. Like one of it was 2007 when he did the angle.
Okay. That was
So it
probably
might have been like,
payoff.
I'll give you this money. Hush, hush.
and then the other one was before his campaign.
Oh, they gave public money.
Yeah.
Like not WWE money. They gave their own money. Like
Yeah.
the McMahons are some of the biggest donors of the Republican Party. Like and have been forever.
Yeah.
It's not. Trump wasn't the first horse they backed in 2016. It was Chris Christie.
Mm.
And then when Chris Christie dropped out, they backed Trump.
Andy, what do you got to plug?
No, well, the Backbreaker show. That's this Saturday in Archibald at Quinn's Market. So that's all I got going on this weekend. Go to your UCW show at Nanaco
Nanaco,
on Sunday. Yeah. I
You
won't
come-
be there, but
You're not coming to hang out?
I will be getting done work when the show starts.
Oh, okay. Austin.
Still just the Sanctuary. Got to wrestle my third match. 0-3.
There you go.
This one though, I'm just lucky to be alive. I wrestled Stenosaurus.
We may or may not be doing commentary for that after this is over.
I
So if you want to
would love
hang out,
Absolutely.
listen to us do it.
Yeah, no, I'm very thankful to still be alive. When you have 2 tons of prehistoric stunt land on you from the second rope, I am very
Luchasaurus.
He wrestled a dinosaur.
yeah, I'm very grateful to still be here.
Uh,
Oh, wait, actually, one other thing.
Uh-oh.
Happy Dads. So not only am I just shouting this out because they're a beer in New Jersey that are very tasty, but my friend Jake Chernitz is the one who got me these. His birthday is Saturday.
Thank you, Jake, and happy birthday. We enjoyed the seltzers on the podcast. Anytime we get beer on the show, we're happy about it. So also, we actually just got contacted by a brewery in Pennsylvania who's sending us beer.
Oh, that's great.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, they're going to send us beer
Nice.
for the show so we can review it. So maybe I need to develop like a PO box that people can send us shit.
Yeah,
So you guys can send us cookies or beer,
cookies and beer. Yeah.
cookies and beer. Anyway, Brian,
Murder My Dude.
let's get people buying T-shirts before we open a PO box.
You can buy a Murder My Dude t-shirt. Absolutely. Project29.com. You can find them. We have Murder My Dude t-shirts. We have a bunch of them. We have ones that have the old like NWA logo and it's like straight out of something or another.
Yeah. Real quick in the chat, Billy, our music for the show, says, "Wait, Austin wrestles? He has been training."
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta talk to Billy.
Yeah.
Austin stunt fights, sir.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
stunt
He's
fights.
stunt fights. This
I'm
is why.
aspiring to be
This
a
is why I've been telling all
I
of
was
you
gonna say,
to
is
come.
this like your preseason matches? Like you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the games
I don't
that-
know how more mid-season you can get than wrestling a goddamn
I know,
dinosaur,
but I'm
Andy.
just
Have you
saying.
ever wrestled a dinosaur?
No, but it came close.
Did you ever wrestle a dragon?
Yeah, maybe.
This is why we say listen to the show and come hang out with us when we go to shows. Because if you were coming to the sanctuary,
You
Billy
could also
Trey,
wrestle a dinosaur.
Yeah.
you would have seen Austin make his wrestling debut.
Like, what if this is Austin's like NXT, and then he comes to Raw as a different character or something? You know, I don't know what I'm saying.
Like his first match that
Like
maybe
these
not.
don't really count, but then like,
So like pull back the
However, these
curtain.
are moments that are still pressed.
yeah,
So-
you know what
So
I'm saying?
example, a lot of these matches he's having are against other students,
Yeah,
and I mean he's had a
Or
run in.
dinosaurs.
He's had a run in with people in the Stampede.
yeah.
But like his first match against maybe like a Schultz or a Polino, which
His
is like
first, like-
his upgrade.
Oh, don't worry.
Officially announced match. You know,
don't
like
worry.
coming. You know, October 31st.
I had a discussion with Jordan today, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Cool.
Very lovely discussion with him today.
Nice.
Oh yeah, my plug. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Murder My Dude returns. It's a bi-weekly podcast, so it's every other weekend. This is a week, so in about a little less than 3 hours from now,
Ooh.
you can listen to Dating Game Killer, My Dude, the latest episode talking about a serial killer who was prominently featured on a 1978 episode of The Dating Game. And he won.
Wow.
He won the dating game.
Did he kill the person that he dated
No,
over the
she
game?
had good intuition.
Yeah, she went back. So he's like, this guy's a creep. And she's like, I will not go on a date with him.
Good.
And then he went and killed more. He just went and killed more
Yeah.
people. After.
She could have legit been.
Yeah, she might have
murdered.
been.
Yeah,
a victim.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our episode. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We have This Week in Murder, which is gonna be more of This Week in Litigation, where we look at some court cases that are going on, and then as always, we play Who Died the Worst, and that's always a lot of fun. It's about summer fun and all sorts of summer activities that end horribly. You will never look at beach umbrellas the same way again. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to it on the audio version, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all those nice things, Anchor.fm, just look up Murder My Dude and you'll find it. And it releases at midnight.
Go listen to Murder My Dude. Leave a review and say you were sent by the Tornado Tag Podcast. Show us our reach.
Would that almost be like Cody winning the tag titles and then losing the tag titles but winning them to himself?
No, not at all. Because here's the deal.
Brian's one show and then something.
The reason I say stuff like that is because a lot of people don't realize when it comes to Tornado Tag and banging beers, the fact that you guys give us the numbers you give us, which we're very thankful for, but maybe not so much in the, like, we don't get, unless the live chat's there, we don't get a lot of comments or responses or feedback or reviews that people can go read or people buying merchandise or that aspect. But even without all of that, just people talking about the podcast and giving us the numbers and sharing it and doing what you're doing, you're giving us opportunities to do commentary at PPW. You're giving us opportunities to say, this person wants to come on the podcast and Chris Van Fleet can come here and banging beers being invited to breweries. And that's because users showing the demand of enjoying the show. But if you turn around and you say, hey, Happy Dad Seltzer. I'd like to try them. And I heard about it because of a podcast.
Oh, okay.
That word of mouth shows that we have the power of our audience to go and help other things. Like, hey, we have a show this weekend, not doing anything Saturday, show up and be like, hey, I bought tickets because I heard about it on the podcast. That helps us grow our brand, and that makes our brand valuable, which then opens more doors for us to get opportunities to go do cooler things, because the reason Logan Paul and Pat McAfee are on WWE, because they have a huge demand on their audience.
Yeah, perception is reality. And when Tornado Tag or Murder My Dude or Happy Dads or whatever is mentioned more, then people are perceiving it more, which means, oh, okay, there's more. I'm going to see that more.
Absolutely.
And that does help so much.
Yeah, even on the smaller scale where maybe we're not getting the feedback we wanted for 4 years. The fact that we do this is a huge reason why we have the opportunities to do commentary and get backstage access, and we're trusted to do cool things at wrestling shows. So even if that changes if that turns up a 5% notch, that's huge. It helps us. So thank you guys so much. Honestly, we'll get the last one. Interactive engagement. Yeah, absolutely. That match will be on his documentary. There you go, Jeff in the chat. I'm watching you, Austin. There you go. Outbreak Wrestling. Maybe a future booking. Once again, the power of this podcast. You're starting your wrestling career, getting opportunities to work other places. You know what I'm saying? If he ever gets that vlog going, where
and have Sanctuary has their own YouTube where you can watch it.
Yeah, and you can go to sanctuary.pat, Sanctuary PATV, and watch the 3 matches he was a part of. Well, 2 matches.
Yeah.
One will be worked on.
Incoming, yeah.
One will come very soon.
Some lazy jerks might have to do commentary on it soon.
Yeah. But yeah, so have you ever used, will you think Logan will ever hold a belt?
Possibly.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he's good enough
If he wants to stay and
it depends on how frequently he wants to.
Yeah, it's up to
wrestle.
him.
I could see. Well, actually, here's a question then for the table: who holds more titles, Pat McAfee or Logan Paul?
I think Logan wants to be more active wrestler, and Pat McAfee just wants to do here and there.
Yeah, he wants to announce and wrestle in big moments.
I see McAfee holding a title some way.
I think that would diminish it.
Yeah.
Well, he's on SmackDown on 24/7 titles on Raw, and probably going to be defunct soon, so that's going to wipe out a lot of their.
The best.
Oh no, I
don't
feel
worry,
serious
we don't want that title. That's the best.
Yeah. All right. Well,
whoa. Hey now,
Shockmaster's
Retribution's back.
They are back.
Shut it down.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, enjoying the show. Once again, remember, Patreon is there. $2, $3, $5. It's like buying us a beer once a month, and they all add up. If 15 people do $5 a month, that helps us pay for a lot of bills here.
That's more than $15.
Well, I'm saying, but I'm saying that those small increments add up and help us. If you can't do that, like, share, subscribe, tell people this exists. Bring people over to the YouTube side. We're trying to get to that 1K by the end of the year. That helps us out a lot too. Thank you for everyone who joined the chat tonight. The conversation was unbelievable. We love you all so much. 6 viewers, 6 likes. I think we nailed it. That helps us out. Thank you. We're going to close out with some the Tornado Tag podcast music by our own Converse kid, Billy Trey.